You are listening to the Hello Sport podcast.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
philosophical.
We know that I'm not doing it, not with
No.
my handwriting.
No, well, exactly. And I mean,
Maybe
like
a
my
four,
handwriting's great.
we couldn't-
Are we going? We're recording?
Ready to go when you are.
All right. Well, we're going. Welcome back to the Hello Sport podcast. I don't know if I feel like introing it the exact same way for this like second one of the week. You know what I mean? Just welcome. It is the home unqualified opinion on wavering bias, but you already know that. You heard it on Monday.
But if you are new to it, it is the home of
Maybe you
qualified
intro it.
opinion on wavering bias. It is. Fucking oath, it's the home of it, and it always will be.
Eddie's Thursday
Know
podcast.
that. Thursday podcast coming at ya. Look, the punter and the dribbler called for 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
Look, need I remind you that you already get one with bloke, you get about even, so this is technically the 4th.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, when you're asked to deliver for the people, Tom, you have to.
Well, you got to do it, Eddie. The punter and the dribbler has afforded us, top the heap status.
Yes.
And when you're afforded that, you have to give back in some way more than you already have. Now, you could say we've been given for the last 10 years,
Yeah.
day in, day out, given.
But
But
and ask for nothing in return.
ask for nothing. But you know what? When you got to give a little more, I'll give a little more.
Happy to give a little more. Now, we are watching the Boomers take on the US side. I don't know if they've got a name. I think,
The US side,
yeah. I mean, obviously, they were referred to as the Dream Team in terms of what their actual name is. If it's still the Dream Team, that's lame as fuck.
well, that's
because
a little
it's not.
obnoxious.
Well, it's not the Dream Team because, mate, like in terms of the stock that they could take to the Olympics, it's not
their,
even close.
It's not their dreamiest team.
No.
I'll tell you what it says on Wikipedia. It says the USA men's national team, commonly known as the United States men's national basketball team.
Okay, right.
They've got a longer
they're,
name
so they're
than-
creative as well.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
I'd expect a bit better from the Yanks, if I can be honest.
Nah, I think that settles right where, because they're very patriotic.
Dante hits a 3, baby. I will say this about basketball, and this may anger some people. We are wearing our Sydney Kings jerseys out of sort of solidarity. The Violet Crumbles, they're the official basketball team of the podcast, NBL team. But I do find, and I think I was even having this conversation with Nude Soon the other day, basketball can be fucking very slow going until the final quarter if it's close.
Yeah, but basketball, I don't think basketball pretends otherwise. It's
No.
always been a fourth quarter game.
Yeah, right? Like
Particularly if it's close going into the fourth quarter, which more often than not, I feel like it is.
they're usually, games are
Like,
usually in
obviously
touch.
some scores blow out, but generally speaking,
Oh, that was a nice little play.
like how many games do you watch of basketball where it's decided in the final couple of minutes? Shitload.
Yes, and that's great. But it's the preamble, like there's back
Well, this
and
is
forward.
just padding, Tom.
Yeah, this is padding for the final thing. But look, I'll happily
But the
watch
thing about
4
basketball
quarters of Australia beating the piss out of the USA men's national basketball team.
100% I will. And we're up by 8 points. Now, obviously, the first 3 quarters are padding, but you've got to get through the padding. You have to.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
It's like the wrapping in Pass the Parcel the first 3 quarters. You know what I mean? You're just getting through. P.S. Haven't thought about that game for a while.
Haven't thought about Pass the Parcel in yonks.
That was one of the great games at like kids' birthday parties and shit, right? You'll sit down. Is it the music plays? And then when the music stops, whoever's got the parcel, you take it off. Sometimes you just get fucking gypped and you just take a layer of paper off and you got fucking nothing in there.
Now, I can't remember the rules specifically. I think you're pretty much
I think
right.
I'm pretty much right. Heard it?
So it's sort of like the present version of musical chairs, except no one loses.
Well, they sometimes lose if the party you're at has a ruthless parent where like some layers are just fucking hoodwink, like wool pull layers. Where
Yeah,
it's like
we'll pull those. But then you've got a sort of a dictator parent. The parents, generally speaking,
each layer has a present.
yeah, and they're all of sort of
Relative.
like they're equal.
Except the middle one's usually like the big mama jamma. Everything else is like lollies or a little fucking
Yeah, the big
cracker
mama
toy.
jamma, and the big mama jamma usually goes to the birthday kid.
Yeah.
Now that's not written in stone.
Well, there's no rule I think that stipulates it has to go to the birthday boy or girl, but it's maybe an unwritten
Look,
rule.
if history's taught us anything, Tom, it's that
the middle of the
middle
past the
usually
parcel.
goes to the birthday kid. Now, are we off topic? No.
Not really. Actually, I'd say we're more on topic than if we were talking about fucking anything. The Olympics.
That's the thing you need to learn about this Thursday podcast, Punters and Dribblers, is there is no topic.
No.
It's
Whilst,
just, it's audible diarrhea
Yep.
of the best kind. The kind that you'd eat.
the type of diarrhea you'd eat.
Yeah. Yeah. Or that you'd fucking slurp up with a
Oh,
spoon.
for fuck's sake. Okay, calm down. I realise this is the Thursday pod, but Jesus Christ.
Well, I've got to set the tone, Tom.
Slurping up diarrhea is certainly a tone setter, Eddie. Fuck me.
Well, the punter and the dribbler would, and they know it.
No, yeah, they would. Look, got to say a big shout out to all of the punters and dribblers who have got behind us in the merch side of things. We were sending off punters and dribblers hats yesterday and today. There's like 100 left. 100 left, is there?
90 left.
90 left. And this is the literal last of the punters and dribblers hats. These won't get made again. Said that a few times, but I actually mean it this time. They're not getting made again. So, yeah, get them before they're gone.
They are here. They are live. They are ready to rip. Thank you to all the patience from the punters and dribblers. You've been fantastic. I will say this just as like just so we all are clear. There will be no more pre-sales.
No.
When the merch arrives in this great nation of ours, that's when the selling begins.
Yeah.
And it won't happen a moment before that. So rest assured, moving forward, you're in good, safe, honest hands.
Yeah.
Not that you weren't.
You were always in good, safe, honest hands,
Not
but
that you weren't.
I can understand.
But we
you know,
weren't the quickest, and it wasn't our fault. It was the supplier in China. And look, they're very precise with their work. They want it done properly. They want it done
Measurements,
to code.
yeah.
They want it done to the highest possible quality. That's what we expect. That's what we ask for.
Yeah.
But when you ask for that level of quality, all on behalf of the punter and the dribbler, sometimes, they unravel a little.
Listen, it's our first time doing large, big ticket items, and so we had to get the size of you motherfuckers. We've said this, you get this, but we're just saying pre-sale, no more. It's just going to be like...
Also, it's hard to exclusively book container ships, which is what we now need.
Yeah, we actually need the oil tankers. We repurpose oil tankers.
We have, look, and that's probably for a different podcast, talking you through the minutiae of repurposing oil tankers. But we are here to celebrate Australian gold, Tom.
Yeah.
And celebrate it we will. We have now tied officially punters and dribblers 17 golds. That's the record we set in Athens. It's now been equaled, and I expect it to be
So Athens
bested.
was our greatest Olympics?
Yep.
Okay, well, I like that our greatest Olympics was at the home of the Olympics, but it seems like now it's going to be the home of the Sega Master System and Mega Drive. And
It will be the home of the Mega Drive,
Yoshi. And
home of the Sega, home of Nintendo, all the good stuff, the stuff we'll read on as punters and dribblers. Because we won the K2 1,000-metre kayaks. Now, some punters and dribblers might point out that the other week I was, less than positive about the sport. I remember it differently. I remember saying that it was for the toughest, the K2 kayak.
Yeah, no, I remember you saying that.
You know what I mean? It's where boys become men growing up in the K2 kayak because it's so demanding on the shoulders, Tom.
I mean, isn't kayaking in general demanding on the shoulders?
It's all shoulders, mate.
Well, that's kayaking in general,
So if you can walk off the water with a gold, you got the biggest shoulders in the game,
which is a flex.
which is it's a literal flex.
It's a literal flex. It's a shoulder flex.
By definition, you are flexing.
Did we also get gold in the skateboarding? I
Keegan
missed
Palmer.
that. You know what's annoying about that is I was watching the Olympics today and I was watching the fucking track and field and I didn't realize that there was skateboarding on with a national hero in Keegan Palmer ripping for the nation. And I was watching fucking the 4x100 relay heats and the triple jump men's and the men's shot put.
It was you put in our group today about athletes that
Did I?
That were born in Australia but represent other countries.
Oh, yeah.
And
well, the punter and a dribble put it in
I was
there.
going to say Keegan Palmer did, but I got it mixed up in my head. He was born in the US, but now represents the greatest nation of all. I don't know of anyone that goes the other way.
Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving.
There was a few that the punters and dribblers said. There was this one guy, Phil Dutton, who's a horse rider of sorts. And he was
Well-
born in Australia and represents the US, I think. And his middle
mean-
name's Peter, so his name's Phil Peter Dutton.
Oh, well, fuck that guy then, with the greatest respect. Dave, what I would like for you to do, because I've done no research into it, But could you get me up to speed on what the Australians got in trouble for coming back on their flight?
Yes.
Or in the hotel room or some shit?
I thought it was on the flight.
Well, there's been some athletes acting up. I think there was some on the way to New Zealand for rugby. So there's been a few Wallabies that have been stood down, like Korobidi, and then a few names I don't know. And then some Olympian Sevens players, I believe.
Yeah, so what I heard
Acting
was
up.
that it was the Sevens team and the soccer team.
The Ollie Roos?
Yeah. And then apparently today they've said it's like there's 7 other sports. I'm just getting on
Acting
top
up
of it.
how? By what? Like celebrating a fucking momentous occasion and like the stress of an Olympics? You know what I mean? Like, can these guys not blow off steam after an Olympic Games? Obviously, I don't know what they've
What
done.
have they done?
All right, so it says Australia's rugby sevens and soccer players were the ringleaders in the unruly flight. So you can imagine there was a lot of them on the same flight, which left Tokyo last Thursday night, arriving in Sydney the following morning. At least one drunk footballer, doesn't specify which, vomited in the plane's toilet, which couldn't be used again during the 10-hour flight.
That's not ideal. I mean, it's all full of Olympians though, right? It's not like a fucking commercial flight, is it?
No, apparently, well, it says the specifics of who was involved, we still don't know. They did have excessive alcohol consumption. They were loud and disruptive to the other members of the flight. So people must have been complaining, and they failed to respond to requests made to do whatever they needed to do on the flight.
Look, I get it, but I'm also like, let them live. They've just been to the Olympics and they got a little bit pissy on the flight. Who the fuck's complaining about that?
Yeah, who the fuck is complaining about that? And who's? I didn't even think there'd be many people coming back to the country. Like, how many other people were on the flight that weren't in some way?
Yeah, because you don't have full flights now, right? They're not packed
way.
unless you're saying that other Olympians complain, which is even more disgraceful if that's the case.
If that's the case, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I'm
Look,
disappointed.
if you can't blow off steam on the flight home after representing your nation at the Olympics,
Especially in Olympics where you couldn't yip and yahoo, you had to come home early.
As soon as the event was over, you were bloody
On the next flight out of there.
herded onto the bus and then onto the plane and fucked off. You
Yeah.
couldn't go around rooting and shagging and drinking and yahooing
Exactly.
and getting up to all that yobbo behaviour that the Olympics has come to be known for, Tom.
So it says there were 49 Olympians on the flight from 9 different sports, but it also says that the airline stopped short of lodging a formal complaint, but just wanted to bring the bad behaviour to Australia's attention.
Fuck off.
Fuck off. We've lost our way.
Yeah, I know.
Who
Bring
the
it-
fuck's decision
But you
was
know
that?
what? That's
But
also.
that's Japan Airlines.
Oh, Japan. Come on.
But
You've
what's
done
the
such a
difference
great
between an
job.
official complaint and just telling you that you want it? What's the difference?
No, I think an official complaint might have been like sanctions and could have been fined or something, but I think what they did is just tell the media and make stories about it.
Look, Japan, you've done a great job to this point. A fantastic job.
Yeah.
But I think you've missed the mark there.
Yeah, you have.
Now, look, maybe in Japanese culture, that sort of behaviour is considered uncouth.
What, you telling me that after an Olympics, Eddie, you can't boot in a toilet?
But I'll give you the hot tip.
A mile-high boot?
Down here, the nation modern Australia, founded in large part off the back of the work of the scallywag.
Yeah, well, off the back of an airport or a mid-flight boot.
That's what we celebrate.
Our
down
national
here.
hero is fucking David Boone, who managed to drink like 60 cans.
Mate, I'm pretty sure year 4, a good chunk of year 4, the curriculum, Tom, that is spent learning about that fucking
Yeah, exactly. Boonie's
accomplishment.
boot. Boonie's great.
Bernie putting away 50 tins on the way to England, no doubt to win another Ashes. I mean, that's the stuff of folklore.
Yeah, and then the Aussies.
And you think the Ollie Roos and the Sevens team didn't know about that story?
Yeah, and what they're trying to look, they've got a shorter flight. They're
trying to
fit-
replicate their heroes.
They've got a shorter flight though as well, so they've got to fit more in. So of course they're going to boot.
But also, Bernie was on the way to an Ashes, so you could argue he should have been a little subdued. They're on the way home from an Olympics where they couldn't rip, they couldn't tear, they had chong-proof beds, allegedly. Dommies they weren't allowed to wear. Like, what are we talking
ornamental dummies and chong-proof beds.
about? On what? Some bloke had a couple too many rumbos and fucking had a boot in the dunny. I mean, there's more than one toilet.
Yeah, firstly, more than one toilet, not a full flight.
Other yobbos on the flight.
Yeah, shit somewhere else.
Shit somewhere else. Look, that's my opinion.
Well, I think that'd be the opinion of the nation. I tell you what, nothing's going to disappoint us. Nothing's going to like distract us from Aussie gold.
I would say this as well, Tom. I'd say this as well, exclusively.
That's not a bad point. Qantas probably should have stepped up and been like, listen, do what you want. Oh, that's a foul.
You know?
It's not. Yeah. That's as disappointing as anything, Edward. That's as disappointing as anything.
That wouldn't have got out in the media if it was a Qantas flight.
Of course it wouldn't. What's the CEO called? Lyndon Johnson or some shit?
Alan Joyce?
Alan Joyce. Thank you. Lyndon Johnson might be
Lyndon Johnson was a US
American
president.
Yes.
But you know what I mean, though. Could have been. It could have been Lyndon Johnson, CEO of Qantas.
I knew it wasn't. I knew it wasn't.
But you heard it and went, could have been.
No, I heard it and said, that's not him.
You heard it and went, it's definitely not him, but it could have been. Lyndon Johnson could definitely be a CEO of a company now. Something to think about, something to ponder.
Is Lyndon still with us?
I'd guess he's not.
I don't think so.
I'd imagine. How old's Lyndon Johnson? When was he alive?
He was the president after Kennedy.
Okay, so look, Lyndon will be on his last legs.
He served from
still with us.
63 to 69. He died in 73.
Fuck, he didn't even see the
Oh,
internet.
so Lyndon.
He was 64 when he died.
Right. He went early.
Lyndon-
Lyndon doesn't even know what fucking an iPhone is.
Jesus Christ.
He might now if he's in heaven.
Well, he may. But what we're saying is, I think it's acceptable. I think it's
I
played
think it's play on. So a boot in a toilet.
Boot in the toilet. Now, look,
I've done far worse in an airport toilet and in an airplane toilet, and I mean like
you meant on the way back from Bali.
on the way back from Bali, Bali belly, nightmare fuel, a whole world of hurt. And when it comes to like, oh, well, this toilet can't be used anymore, that was the toilet I was in. It was like I got my own toilet basically on that flight. No one came near
Yeah,
it.
so what's the difference? What's the difference?
Yeah. The difference is that I wasn't having fun. At least these guys were enjoying themselves.
Look, Tom's taken many toilets out of commission.
I have.
He's decommissioned.
I've decommissioned
a
more
fleet
toilets.
of dunnies than you care to fucking acknowledge, mate. You know what I mean? Old mate fucking vomits in one. At
Yeah.
least they can clean it out and go again.
You
I think
can
they
gurney
can
that.
remove yours.
No, they did. Well, the flight was grounded for that plane. Sorry, was grounded for like 6 months while they tried to remove the toilet and the smell. But that is what it is. And then what did the Wallabies do, Dave?
The Wallabies? Marika Korobidi.
Yeah, Naya Razani or someone,
I'll find out.
because they've been stood down from the first Bledisloe, 2 of which are at fucking Eden Park, which is convenient from New Zealand.
It says after.
You think if you're New Zealand, you'd be like, let's give him a crack. Let's
Or
try-
do they just go, let's only play at fucking Eden Park? Because I also get that. But also, if you always play at Eden Park, then eventually, you're just going to...
About Eden Park, no. So the reason they're not playing in the other one, what's the other one? I don't know. The reason they're not playing somewhere else because they had a booking, and basically this festival called Beervana was also had a booking and didn't cancel.
For a festival. Fuck, New Zealand, are they COVID-free, relatively?
Yeah, pretty much. I think they get like international ones coming in.
Sure.
that remain in quarantine, you would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wellington. Wellington. The Beervana Festival's there, August 15 for next week, and so they can't have the Bledisloe.
Dante. Yeah, baby.
Nice, Dante.
Dante's in a nice groove.
Yeah, he is in a nice groove.
Look, probably hasn't been getting, he hasn't been getting much game time in the US. I like to think he's been saving himself for the big time.
For what really fucking matters. It's interesting, though, with someone like Exum. He went pretty early, didn't he, in the draft? Fifth round?
No, he went 5th.
5th in the draft.
Yeah.
And is he still with the Jazz or did he get moved?
No, he's been at Cleveland. I think he's now fucked off from Cleveland again.
Where
is he now? I believe he's been traded again. He was at Cleveland.
I would hate to play basketball for Cleveland.
Depends.
If you're
He plays for the Rockets.
Yeah, the Rockets now.
Cleveland's just a fucking shithole, though.
Yeah, Cleveland is a shithole. But like, if someone said to you, "Do you want to come play with LeBron and win a fucking ring?" and then like you would say yes.
Of course.
So it's all context, Tom.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I'm saying like, if you want to pick somewhere to play, like Miami seems like it'd be pretty fun. New York as a city's fucking overrated, with the greatest respect to people who love New York.
Well, it's a bit overwhelming in the sense
It's
that
very overwhelming. It's just also not as cool as everyone's like. It's not the Jay-Z song that everyone's fucking singing.
No, and there's like no trees and no real outdoors, and it's a bit claustrophobic.
It's just kind of like it's just like being in the CBD everywhere you go.
And I've been in summer and it was fucking
Dude,
hot.
summer's like, I don't think I've been. It's like being in an oven.
Yeah, dude.
It's fucking disgraceful.
And there's nowhere to fucking like cool down.
Nah,
it's not
I
like,
almost
let's
fainted.
nip down to the beach and have a swim. No, you can't do that.
No, you can't.
And if you want to go for a swim, you got to go to some fucking ritzy. Oh yeah,
that's
baby.
Nice. That's nice.
Some ritzy rooftop bar where they fucking sting you $50 for a margarita.
Yeah, exactly.
US
And
plus
entrance
tip
and margarita.
plus tax.
Yeah. Fuck New York. I love New Orleans. That's where
Never
I
been.
New
Heard it's
Orleans
sick.
is my favorite city in New York. It was cool. But I also felt like I was going to get shot the whole time.
Miami would be a vibe, dude.
Yeah. Dude, New Orleans, so I think an Australian got shot like a week before we got there. And so I was nervous the whole time.
Okay. Now look, with 5 minutes left in the second quarter, Australia is winning 39-26.
Not bad.
It's not bad. You'd rather this than the inverse.
Correct, but it's kind of I just hope it's not a bit of a case of like Spag Bowl last night where he was fucking dominating. Well, not dominating, but winning.
Yeah.
And then in the last 100, he just sort of melted.
Well,
And that's not me having a crack at him. He
No,
did
no,
the
no,
country
no.
proud.
look, Peter Bowl, Spag Bowl, fucking, he needed a hot pace, Tom. Not to get two X's and O's
No,
with
but
the
he did.
punter and the dribbler. He needed a hot pace. He didn't get it, so he had to take up the running himself. By the time he got to the final 100, he was absolutely fucking rotoed.
Yeah.
But what does warm the heart in regard to Spag Bowl, 3 million Australians watched him last night.
Yep. You don't get, like, that's more than fucking Origin and shit.
They're big numbers.
They're huge numbers.
Did you see like the West Australian Convention Centre?
No.
Convention, like where all his family and shit
Oh,
were?
yeah. I saw
Sick.
like the thing.
He was, and at the end, he was like, mate, I could name all of them.
Yes. And he was like,
I'm like, there's hundreds of people there. I'm so impressed.
I mean, it's his family and shit. You'd hope he'd fucking know him. You know what I'm saying?
Big family though.
Well, huge family, but I mean, like, if you got a big family, it's like you don't forget your family members' names, do you?
Well,
Well, yeah. It depends
have
on
you
who
got hundreds of family?
No, I don't. Steph's family does.
Do you know what I mean? I'm sure one or two names had slipped from the mind.
Yeah, that's fair. Look, that's fair. What's the name of the Aussie coach? Jorgensen or something? Like,
Don't know. That's a Dior. And by Dior, I mean Dave.
yeah, D or Dave.
'Cause we don't
The
Dior
running
anymore.
coach?
No, the fucking
Oh, the
basketball.
Boomers coach.
The running coach.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, we were, but
Yeah,
Brian-
we've shifted.
Brian
You've been-
Gurjian. Gorjin.
Yeah, I was close.
Jian.
Jorgensen. Well, we'll just go with
Yeah.
how you said it, Dave, which was disgracefully weird. I had something written down here, Eddie, because, obviously we just fucking...
Well, did you just quickly about the rugby union team? Because
Yep.
it's the most rugby union scandal of all time, because a Wallaby statement released on Wednesday made it clear there was no illegal behaviour, no damage and no complaints made. What happened was a few players, Korobidi, Naisarani and Pone Farm Masuli, after a team dinner, took some alcohol back to them, drank in their rooms 2 hours after their curfew the day before they had a day off.
And they fucking got suspended for a game.
Yeah.
Lame.
Is that one of those, like, we're setting the expectation?
Yeah,
sort
it
of,
is,
this is the
yeah.
team culture sort of vibe?
No fucking half measures. Rules are rules. Standards are standards. I get it, but I'm also like...
But, surely there's room there's wriggle room.
I mean,
if
Karabidi's
you're in a-
fucking off anyway, so what are you going to do, right?
Like, if you're an adult, right, and someone says, you've got a 12 p.m. curfew and you're home at 1, is that the end of the world?
No, it's not, Eddie, but I think in the team context...
Like, if you lock
in-
up at 6, sure, you've played a shocker. But if you limp home an hour late, like,
Yeah, I know,
is
but I
that
thi-
like is that a fucking you cannot cross this line sort of marker?
I feel like in sporting teams, professional sporting teams, it's almost... There's an element of being treated like a child when you're an adult. It's like you've got all these rules and fucking this and that, and you're a bit like... It's like, we're going to give you a bit of freedom here, LA, to do this. But then again, if you go and act like a dickhead, it's like, well, you are acting like a child. We told you not to do that. And then you've gone and ripped and teared.
But do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Where it's like, if you're not taking the piss, I think is how I'd put it.
Right. But
don't take the piss.
But maybe you're taking the piss by breaking the rule. The rule was set because the rule was set.
It says here that it's the first disciplinary issue that Rennie has had to deal with as coach.
He's got to put his foot down. If Rennie starts becoming, best mate Rennie, then who knows what'll happen. They're already not very good. Speaking of not very good, and I don't mean to be taking a turn to negative town, but one of my mate, like one of the chat groups I'm in, is definitely more rugby centric, and they keep sharing the Waratahs social media sort of strategy at the moment.
The reset.
The reset is what they're calling it. So it's like, can you just get some of them up, Dave? Yeah. So it's all about, because they didn't win a game last year. They didn't win a game in Australia or New Zealand. They didn't win a game. And it's like the reset, everything's fallen into place. I'm like, they're like announcing re-signings of players no one's fucking heard of. And it's like, yes, just secured fucking Lockie Winterbottom fucking for another 2 years. Everything's coming together. Hashtag the reset. I'm like, bro, you know what? I wouldn't be saying that. I wouldn't be going about the reset after not winning a game. I'd be... The reset sets you up for a fucking fail. Because if you don't win a game again, or even if you just win one game, is that meant to be you? Is it like you can't get worse than not winning a game so you can say the reset?
Yeah, I'd be careful before I pulled the trigger on a word like reset, because obviously it's a reset, but if you fucking get pounded again, then you just look like you. What then?
Yeah.
Where to then?
This is just all
I think the reset is when you sit down with a coach and you make some good signings and there's a bit of belief.
Oh, Paddy Mills.
Paddy Mills, they compare Paddy Mills, like Boomers Paddy Mills, to MJ. Have you seen all that shit on the internet?
No.
They're like, Paddy Mills in the fourth quarter when he's playing for the Boomers is literally Michael Jordan. He can't miss. He just fucking dominates.
Okay, I love it.
He's having a fucking ball terror, punters and dribblers.
If we win this one, before we get back to the reset, hashtag the reset, are we? Do we guarantee a medal?
Yeah, because we'll be in the final, and you guarantee we'll win it. If we get over the US, we'll win.
So this is
a semi.
Semi.
There seems to be a lot of belief, before we get to the reset, in this side. Like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, punters and dribblers. Believe that. We say that every week.
Yeah.
But what I'm seeing out of our boys is a chemistry.
Yeah.
A like-mindedness, Tom. They seem to be on the same page.
Synergy.
There's a lot of synergy there, but there's a lot of belief and there's a lot of camaraderie. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, they're getting on.
Like, you can tell in the interviews and the way they're fucking hugging and slapping and yahooing. Like, I see camaraderie and it warms my heart.
Could you imagine? And I mean, obviously, Benny Simmons was a maligned character towards the end of the NBA season, but like, if we had Ben Simmons as well, you would assume, despite the fact that he has an aversion to shooting, that we would be winning. We'd be even better, right? But he doesn't make that team worse.
Yeah, Ben Simmons is a freak. Make no mistake. But he would need to buy into the culture of the side, Tom, is what I'm getting at.
And you know what? The concern is that maybe he wouldn't.
Well, I mean, look, he said that he wanted to work on his jump shot. He was sucking strawberries and cream off a girl's out of a girl's mouth at the fucking.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, buttholes.
Well,
sure.
no, sorry, I didn't know the story. I was
Look,
guessing.
he might have. There might have been buttholes involved, but there was definitely mouth involved at Wimbledon. And I think when we saw that as a nation, we said,
you know what? Don't need him there.
Is he part of the Boomers culture?
Not now. Not at the moment.
No,
he can be.
I think, you know what it might be, Tom? It might be one of those, I've matured. I see now how much the nation means to me, and I've come back, and I'm prepared to rip and tear in France.
Well, he's going to see us win gold, and then he's going to be like, fuck.
And then he's going to be interested.
Yeah. So we've never won a medal.
Never won a medal. We've come fourth like 50 times. It was the bane of Andrew Gaze's existence.
Yeah. Now, back to the reset.
Yeah.
In my mind, a reset is like when you got to reset a computer, restore factory settings, and you got to reset it like an N64 when it's completely glitched out, which I think is fair to say that the Waratahs are a frozen computer.
Do you mean when you turn it off
the PowerPoint,
pull it out?
Yeah.
put it in, and
blow
then,
the cartridge.
but don't put it in properly and go.
Yeah, you got to like give it a nice little crunch in.
That punters and dribblers is how you load a 64, and it worked every time.
Yeah. But the concern here is if you're going to reset the Waratahs, don't you just melt the whole club and start again?
Look,
Or is it just a turn off at the PowerPoint, turn it back on?
yeah. I mean, they're trying to reset the computer, which historically can work, but it doesn't work as well as buying a new one.
No.
You know what I
Correct.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, if your computer's old and fucked and it's at, like, reset territory where you need to reset it every day just so it's, like, you know, optimal.
Operational.
Yeah, it's operational. You know what we're talking about, punters and dribblers, when your computer's about 4 years old, 5 years old, you have to do that. At a certain point, when you get a new computer, you realize how much better your life is with it.
Well, it happened to me very recently.
And how fucked it was before.
Every time I was editing videos and the computer would just turn off. And I'm like, this is like being a Waratahs fan almost. It just turns off and stops working. And so I had to get a new computer. I would reset it. And when it would freeze, I'd have to reset it, get a new computer. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm winning comps again.
Winning comps.
Winning comps.
So the best thing for the Waratahs moving forward, obviously, is a new computer. Now, given the circumstances, given the landscape, given
Yeah, they can't afford a new computer.
I don't think they can afford a new computer. It's make do with what you got, and if that means, you know, scrolling through the internet, scrolling through bins, looking for old parts, trying to make it, you know, trying to upgrade the computer, then so be it.
This isn't a RAM situation. This is a whole fucking...
No, this isn't RAM. This is RAM, hard drive,
It's hardware.
fucking nodes, whatever the fuck
Yeah,
else is in
whatever
there.
else it is. Just even the wiring, you know?
Well, they need new wiring, Tom, because the wiring's, you know, transferring the information, isn't it?
Or the power.
Yeah.
They've
Who
a
the
new,
fuck knows?
They've got a
Fuck.
new coach.
Didn't they fucking sack their coach last year,
Yeah,
though?
they sacked Rob Penny.
But like
for
mid-season?
for no reason at all.
Well, I mean, no wins isn't no reason.
Yeah, but it was not his fault.
Dave,
Again, we're blaming the parts of the computer,
Dave,
not
look,
the operator.
Dave, I know you're young buck, but when you've watched as much sport as Tom and I, you will realise that it doesn't matter if you have the worst cattle of all time. The coach is always sacked first.
Yeah,
That's
the coach
how
is
it
always
works.
wrong.
Now, whether that's right or wrong is neither here nor there. That's what happens. If you go a season of provincial or domestic and then Trans-Tasman Rugby Union without winning a game, expect to get the sack, bro.
Well, he was sacked after 5 games, and then
Well, there
they
you
st-
go.
And then they still didn't win one.
There you go. That's what you expect. They expect W's. It's a ruthless business.
Oh, fuck.
it's
the
also
Yankees-
easier to get rid of the coach than fucking the whole side.
The whole side. But maybe they need to do both. Burn the joint down, keep Michael Hooper. I don't know who else you keep from the side. You're a Waratahs man, aren't you, Dave? Or your family? You identify as
Historically, we
rugby
have been.
union fans.
We at one point we were stronger towards that, but I've brought my dad back to my side.
Oh, have you?
Well, mostly because you're either watching the Storm win every week or watching the Waratahs lose every week.
Delhi, that's not good enough.
Hit this 3. Go on, do it, you fucking dog. Yes. Love that.
Oh, we'll take the lead.
We'll take the lead, but fuck, you let the Yanks come back there.
Well, that beautiful 15-point lead evaporated. Now it's
It evaporates
3.
quick. 45-42 at halftime. Australia v. the United States of America. Thrilling game. Dante Exum looks like he's hurt his hip.
Thrilling game.
Thrilling game, end to end. 2 points, then you get 2 points, and you get 2 points, and I get 3 points, and you get 2 points, and I get 3 points, and you 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 get 2 points. First quarter done.
Yep. Well, first half.
No, but that was my first quarter summation.
Sure.
I could have gone the full half, but I thought the
Well, it would
joke
have
had
been
been
much.
done.
Tom, I don't know if you caught the pole vault the other night.
Didn't.
Very impressive performance by this Swede. Don't really want to talk about him, although he was the only bloke to clear 6 meters, and then he put the bar up to 6:19 to try and break his own world record and just missed it. But so he was like 20 centimeters better than anyone else, which is outrageous.
The pole vault's a gnarly fucking sport.
But here I want to get to with pole vault. There are no requirements whatsoever as to how wide, how long, or what your pole's made of.
So you could have the biggest pole you want,
You can have the longest pole of all time.
but the poles are... Why?
'Cause
Why
it's
is why is there no requirement?
Well, I think it's more about how you handle your own equipment, Tom.
Yeah, I can understand that, right? As in, it's don't blame your tools.
Well, it's exactly right. Like, and blokes that are using smaller equipment can still get the job done.
Yes, but at some point there'd be a minimum length pole that you'd be able to get away with.
Well, that's right. So so there's plenty of blokes that use small poles, right? And they're pretty comfortable with them because they're easier to use.
They would be taller gentlemen, I imagine.
But when you get into that big pole territory, which you need to jump 6 foot, they get harder to wrangle.
Can you have multiple poles?
You could have a 20-foot pole.
Could you have then that would be about speed then. You need to be able to run fast enough to make a 20-foot pole.
Well, the Swede, I think, runs a 10.500.
Okay. What else is crazy is that they have to jam that into such a small thing in the ground.
Yes.
Every time they run up.
Yes.
That's ridiculous. Do they drag it along the ground for a little bit before they hit it in that thing?
No, they run with it up like...
No, I know, but then... do they just hole in one it?
I think they hole in one it.
That's fucked up.
I could be wrong.
That's fucked up.
Well, because that would give them the bounce type thing you need.
Yeah, because you need that.
Yeah. And I think
but you get that as well if you're dragging it.
I think the reason there's no limits on how big or how wide is because there's got to be the best ergonomic design, which isn't too tall that it snaps or too thick that it doesn't bend as well. And there's got to be a little golden area.
I wonder whether they're all pretty much the same fucking size.
No, I think they're quite different.
No,
and there's blokes, and you take a quiver, that could be the wrong. A quiver may well be wrong.
Quivers.
Yeah, but quiver of poles.
I think traditionally it's called a pole. Oh, like a bunch of poles.
They bring a big bag full of poles.
Yeah,
different
right.
Poles.
Sorry. So
Pole
you
bag.
can have multiple poles
Yeah,
per
you can.
event. Okay. Yeah, this pole ain't working for these conditions.
Well, look, I mean, old mate's he's forcing me to jump over 6 meters. I don't feel comfortable up there, but I do have an old pole that's got cobwebs on it that
could get me to 6 if I
can
needed
get me to
to.
6. Can I handle it?
Yeah. Okay.
Am I man enough to handle this pole?
Whether I can get to 6 is another question. This pole could get me to 6 though. If
Yes.
I do, if
But
I
can
handle
I
it
get to
right.
6?
Yeah.
This is a 6 pole.
Yeah.
Pole's got 6 in it.
What's the longest pole ever used, Dave? Give that a little whirl.
And
in
who
Google.
used it?
And who used it? Yeah, no, look, I didn't watch the pole vault. I don't mind the pole vault though. Forgive me for yawning. That's very fucking disrespectful of me to everyone who's listening.
Good to have you here, Tom.
Yeah, really nice. I am
Glad to know that-
starving myself.
Glad to know that you're dialed in.
Well, no, I am dialed in.
Do you want to? Maybe it's a nice time to tell the punter and the dribbler what you're up to.
Well, I think I said on Monday, didn't I?
I don't think so.
Didn't I? Well, I'm on a health kick, fitness kick. Daddy now, basically on a 12-week challenge, working with my good friend Josh, who's training me now. I've got to lose 10 kilos in 3 months, otherwise I have to get the Olympic rings tattooed on me.
What date? What's the final date?
I don't actually know 100%. It's like.
So I feel like that sort of thing needs to be written.
No,
in
of
stone.
course it is, but it's like around when the new baby's set to arrive. So it's like October 20ish, I think.
Yep.
New baby due October 20 or 21. So it's one of those dates. I was 104 Australian kilos, 104 fucking thick Australian kilos,
Is that the biggest you've been?
comfortably.
So we're looking at the biggest Tom.
This is the biggest Tom's ever been.
Biggest-
Except I'd say that I've already lost a kilo or so since I fucking started this.
So
thing.
you've come down.
Yeah, I've come down. But I think it's probably easy to lose weight early and then late. It's going to be like I'll be in a fucking sauna covered in towels.
Are you gonna try and cut? You're gonna have to cut weight at the end.
Well, I don't know if I will. To be honest, I've probably got 10 to lose, truthfully.
But I'm saying if you're a couple of days out and
Yeah, I might be
you've
on the
still got-
towels.
you might
I don't want to get the fucking Olympic rings tattooed on me, dude. Jesus Christ. But if you want to get along with me, I know there's already PDX Pete, who's a Baggy Green member for absolutely no reason at all. He's one of the early adopters. He's lucky, and I think he feels like a fraud, which he is, but I still find it
Well,
funny.
he is a fraud, but there's millionaires out there that won the lotto.
Yeah, exactly. There's that's
They're frauds.
It's a benefit for being, in with the pod for so long that if he was an early adopter, he was in there when Baggy Greens were going for fucking nothing.
It's like getting in early on Bitcoin when it was
Correct.
fuck all.
when it was nothing. But
know what I mean?
anyway, if anyone else wants to follow along and go on this bloody 3-month bender with me, and by bender I mean straight and narrow, then feel free. PDX Pete, I think he got himself a trainer. He's trying to do it. Listo, friend of the show. I think I said this on Monday. I don't know, but he kind of got me into it. And he was like, the message he sent me was fucking funny. But he was like, dude, this is probably realistically your last chance to like get back to any level of fucking fitness and health. And I was like, well, it's probably true. And then he was like, and then I didn't respond. And then he goes, you're going to have 2 kids soon. And then I just didn't respond. And then he sends it on and he goes, fathers of 2 kids are fat, dude. And I went, all right, I'm in. Fuck it.
Is he doing it too?
Yeah, but so he's like, me and him are both doing the same thing. Mine's slightly different though. So like, because Josh is like personally training me.
Yes.
So I got a session with him tomorrow, Arvo, I think, where he's going to fucking fold
Bury
me.
you.
Yeah. But that's probably why I yawned just before, because I'm also intermittent fasting far more strictly than I ever have before, where it's like, oh yeah, I won't eat until 12, then I'll eat like 6 kilos of eggs. So sometimes I'm doing it like the right way, but I'm just sort of getting used to it. I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, basketball's gone. Oh.
So you're working hard to make a living.
Yeah, ran 7Ks yesterday. That's the longest I've run probably since
Where'd you run?
Just Centennial, 2 laps.
Nice.
Yeah. It's funny, like you can definitely do it, but like I've got such a weak mind, and it's funny to see how quickly you start like talking yourself out of the thing you said you were going to do when you like set out. All right, I'm going to go to Centennial. I'm going to run 5Ks, and I'm 150 steps into this run, and I'm like, and so I wanted to do the loop, and then I was like 150 steps, and I'm like, why don't I just run to that grass? It's just up ahead, and then I'll just start running up and back on the grass. And I'm like, what is wrong with you, dude? Mental strength, fucking stay in the game, you weak bitch. And then like I get out of that, and then I do 4Ks, and then I'm like, and I'm pushing hard, and I'm fucked at the end of 4Ks, and I'm like, fuck it, 4Ks is good enough. And then I'm like, no, dude, you said 5Ks.
Yeah.
Fucking run.
Yeah.
So I get to 5Ks, and then I almost like broke my weak bitch mind. I'm sure it's not broken forever. I'm sure it'll get me the next time I'm training. But like, then I ended up running just another lap, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Mate, that's the thing. You got to set it out before you start.
Yes.
Because otherwise, you just keep moving the fucking dial. I was talking to Hugh the other day, who I run with a bit. He's a fucking psychopath, which is good for me.
You need a psychopath.
You need a psychopath in your fucking corner,
or a trainer.
But I was telling, he's running a couple of marathons, and I was like, when do you start hurting? And I think he was saying like around like 28, 29, 30 Ks. 28-ish, something like that, Dior. And I'm like, how often do you think about stopping after that point? He's like, every step. I'm like, you thought about stopping every step for fucking 12 Ks? Fuck me dead.
Seriously,
I'd be like done. Clancy and Dan Price, we should talk to them about how often they fucking thought about stopping that 20 Ks.
Dan's going on a 200. So we had Clancy and Dan on this year?
No, last year.
Last year?
Yeah, late last year.
And they were doing a...
Well, when's November? Well, November.
In November.
Yeah, so that's when it was.
Was it right? So they went. They ran from Bondi to Palm Beach and back in a day.
But not the easy way, like the fucking coastal way, which is hilly as fuck.
But the first day they did it was 40 degrees, and they couldn't
it was
make
like 46.
Whatever, you know what I mean? It was fucked. And then you're right though, it was in the mid 40s, and then they couldn't finish it. They
couldn't keep down liquids
fluids and shit.
Fluids. Yeah. I think they ran 2 of the 3 marathons that day.
Yeah, so it was it's 3 marathons.
Yes.
And then they obviously didn't get it done, and they were fucking upset. And then just with no fanfare at all, like 4 or 5 days later, they just got up and did it.
I think it was the Thursday. So they tried this on the Saturday, and then on Thursday it was cool. It was Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was Thursday. It was a cool day, and then with no fanfare, just got up and did it.
Yeah.
Finished at like fucking 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night in Bondi.
That's crazy. But Dan now about to do a 205-kilometer run, which is like running for 45 hours straight.
With 7,000 meters of elevation.
45 hours straight of running. He's a fucking animal. That makes me sick. My back was hurting at 7Ks.
But like, how often would they think about stopping? Like, imagine thinking about stopping every minute or every second for fucking 20 hours.
And like, no matter how well conditioned you are,
that would be maddening.
But no matter how well conditioned you are in significant pain. For most of that run, you would imagine.
But that's those ultras and stuff, like those big fucking massive marathons and shit. They're not comfortable.
No.
They're like, that's pushing the body
Benny
to
Seymour
the
did something like that as well. It
Yeah,
was
he's done a couple of
but
things.
there was one that he did that was like in
did
the
one in
desert.
South America
Yeah,
somewhere.
that was like in the desert. And then at all the different checkpoints, he'd stop and he'd take his shoes off and they'd be fucking drawing blood out of his toes and shit.
He had to cut off the toes of his shoes because they were too small.
Yeah.
I was like, how did you only
Not because
take
they were
one
too
pair
small.
of shoes?
No, not because your feet swell.
Well, too small for the conditions.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why Pace Athletic, who again, got
Shout
us
out
our
to Pace
shoes.
Athletic.
Yeah.
I've taken my new wheels for a DOS spin now.
Yeah.
Loving the equipment. Do I feel fast as fuck? Yeah, I do.
Well, mate, I ran 7Ks in my Pace Athletics, in my Hockers, baby.
Well, you wouldn't have done 7Ks in the Adidas. No way.
I haven't done 7Ks since I was like fucking 6 years old. So
Have you ever done 7Ks?
I would have when I was playing footy, but like
you reckon?
Yeah, for sure, but not for like literally not for years. Like at the end of last year, I was the fittest I've probably been for a very long time, for like maybe a 4-month, 3-month window, and I didn't even do it then. I was running 4Ks, I think then, and this time I just banged it out in my Hockers, baby. And my shins aren't even like, I've been doing heaps more stretching and shit and icing them, and they really aren't that sore. Like considering I ran 7Ks yesterday, my shins, like they're still sore, but like they used to be, if you touched them, they hurt.
So you're just icing them out?
Icing, and I've got a roller, like a really firm roller.
And you've got hockers.
And I got Hockers, and it is like running on clouds, like bouncy marshmallow clouds. And also some support for my Harbour Bridge arches.
Shout out to hockers.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pace
Shout out
Athletic,
to Pace Athletic.
who've been tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous supporters of us. Tremendous supporters of Tom's journey to lose 10 kilos in 3 months.
Yeah.
I'll be proud as punch if you get it done.
So
bro.
I got to get to 94. And I'm not going to necessarily not drink the whole time, but I'm kind of going to be like, I don't want to not make it. You know what I mean? I don't want the Olympic rings tattooed. So it's like,
Well, giving up piss, particularly beer, is going to be a fucking great place to start.
Yes.
And wine. I don't think wine's very good for you either.
no, wine and beer are both bad. I think if I do drink, it'll just be a little bit of a whiskey
Yeah, just a nip.
or a rum.
Get on the seltzers.
Seltzers, I feel like are early 20s if I want to go to a house party and get absolutely maggot.
No.
You know, like a sit at home and enjoy.
No. Seltzers are, in the defense of a seltzer, they're not what you were imagining, which is like a fucking Smirnoff double black. That's not the vibe.
What is it?
It's just low calorie alcohol. It's just super low calorie.
Is it?
It's like a mildly flavored mineral water. You know,
Yes.
there's like sparkling water with a hint of lime.
Dude,
Like
I wouldn't
that.
turn your nose up at seltzers. They might be your fucking ticket to the big time. They're very refreshing.
And what sort
They've
of
got
calories?
the same alcohol content, and there's fuck all
Yeah, it's
calories.
like
in
no
it.
calories.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point. There's like 10 calories in each one. Maybe
Oh,
less.
shit. Daddy might be a seltzer drinker.
Mate, then I actually quite like them. I don't mind them. They're not sugary crap like those Smirnoff double blacks were that fucking girls used to get plastered off the 4-pack.
Girls, I used to get
And guys.
shit-faced on
But I
double
wouldn't
blacks in high
start.
school.
We used to get the Ted's Platinums. They used to send me to a fucking
Ted's Platinum's the
stratosphere.
most disgusting beer I've ever had in my life.
don't-
Disgraceful. We're obviously bloke in a bar exclusively.
We are, but I'm talking about my youth here, punters and
Yeah.
dribblers. Why did everyone drink Ted's?
Ted's was like the cool thing to do, apparently.
Why?
I don't know. Probably because of the acronym
Did
name.
you drink Ted's?
Like I had one mate who was really into them, but I
Probably
thought it was
different
just because
time.
they're cheap as well.
I mean, they were cheap. But they weren't. It wasn't about. I mean, to be honest, when you were not underage but drinking in high school, a 6-pack was all you needed. That's when it's funny to think back on those days.
Mate, not even really. Like 4 beers, I was fucking pissed.
Yeah, but like you could split a case with 4 people, whereas
Easy.
now it's like, excuse me?
And they used to be like $30.
They did, didn't they?
Pack of darts, $10.
That's crazy. $10 darts.
You guys are lucky.
Yeah,
Well, we're not.
sort of. But I don't know if lucky's the
They
right
got
word.
us into cigarettes and then jacked the price up, and it was like,
I can't stand darts anymore.
no, I haven't had a dart for like 3 years, but I still crave one when I see someone have it.
If I'm having a sesh and someone's having one, I might have a.
See, I don't even. That's the thing that I've been able to break. But I'll sit there sometimes and like just dream about it. But
Like
I know
if you're late in the piece and you've had
Yeah,
a big one and
back
someone
end.
lights up a dart, will you have one?
no, I haven't touched one for 3 years. But
I reckon I've had like 10 in the last 3 years.
I dream of them though. And if someone's like, sometimes you get like random like echoes of addiction that just come back when it's like, you see someone having one and it's like 8 in the morning. Like I used to smoke them before I've eaten anything in the morning. You know what I mean? You get up and get a coffee and smoke a dart, and I'm like, the idea of doing that now makes me feel sick. But then there are these times where I see someone do it and I'm like, oh, bruz.
It's not as good as it looks.
No, exactly. That's it. The memory will.
They're disgusting, mate.
It won't live up to the memory.
Yeah, you're remembering the time in your life as well. It's not.
That's also true.
Yeah.
When I was just a fucking little hoodlum in Redfern or wherever I was living.
Well, smoking heaps of ciggies reminds me of like being on holiday in Europe because we could just afford them there, and you could smoke like after you've had a meal.
That's also it as well.
That's
When that'll be something whenever we can travel again and we can go back to like fucking Croatia where Steph's family's from. Just being able to sit out at a restaurant like till all hours and they just bring you like fucking bottles of wine in like, you know, just like the carafes or whatever, and you just sit there and get smashed and smoke darts. I might smoke again if I go whenever the borders open and I can go to Europe. Then I'll have a dart.
You're telling me if we're in Bali on a nice balmy evening, big villa, you know what I mean, sitting back.
Probably not, dude. Like,
and I just go, fucking let's have a dart. You wouldn't have one?
Look,
You wouldn't
maybe,
enjoy one?
but I'm not that. Bali doesn't. I don't really like Bali that much.
You don't like Bali?
No.
Why?
Because I got
because
Bali
of your
there.
history there.
Yeah, I didn't have a good time, so I don't remember it fondly at all.
Maybe don't go with Bracey, who's picking up birds the whole fucking time, and have a friend, and don't be going after you've been dumped.
Well, yeah. Look, all of those things are really
All that
fucking
stuff
easy
went
for to
against
say.
you. You'd been dumped. You got your mate was
Bracey
too busy
actually
shagging and left you by
Bracey, who I
yourself.
love and we all love here, he was actually obviously he isn't a dog at all because he had me on his family holiday and I was like the biggest fucking blow into this like Bracey family holiday. But he did pick up a chick within seconds of going to the nightclub where I was grossly overdressed and everyone else is in
Have we
board
told
shorts.
this story in the podcast?
I think we must have.
We must have.
Where I look like McLovin basically going out on fucking Superbad.
Tom went out in denim jeans.
No, it wasn't denim
Full
jeans.
length.
No, it was they were like really.
To a club in Bali.
They were cuffed chino pants, and I wore a long white shirt, and everyone else in there was wearing boardies, and it was like just after
Because he's in Kuta. So.
Steph dumped me, and we'd been together for ages, so I was just so long out of the game. I was just like fucking thinking I'm dressing up nice, and then I get there, 4 million degrees inside, everyone's in board shorts. Even Bracey was fucking not dressed like I was. And then we walk in there, Bracey sees a chick, they start talking, he's gone, and I'm standing in there like, what am I gonna do
Did you hover
now?
around Bracey and his bird?
I did a couple of times. I'd be like, hey, what's going on? It's like, oh, you're having a really good chat. Don't need me here. All right. Woo. See you later. And I just walked around I honestly don't reckon I had a real conversation with anyone. And I was there all night. I got fucking hammered. And I think at one point, and this is probably the saddest part, I sat on the shitter for like 25 minutes just because I was like, there's nothing else to fucking do in here.
If you've sat on the shitter in a party or at the pub because you got no mates,
Not just in a pub, in a nightclub in Kuta in Bali.
that's lower than all.
It's
But
as
we've
low as
all
it gets.
sat on the shitter at one point or another just to avoid conversations with people we don't like.
Well, dude, it was like no one wants a piece of McLovin at this point.
But those fucking Kuta shitters aren't in good nick.
No, dude, they
To
weren't.
spend 25 minutes in there, you should have just gone home. Or were you dreaming of?
No. Like I couldn't go home because we were like wherever we was. Their family was staying in a villa, and it was like there was a driver coming to get us and pick. So I was like, I'm here until we go. And I was there. It was like the longest night of my life. And then I went home. I've said it. I went back and I passed out on the fucking couch outside. And then we were leaving the next day and no one woke me up. And I was just like shirtless on the couch. And I woke up to that entire house clean. And they'd like literally cleaned around me all morning. I'm like, I am a fucking mess. I am an absolute mess. And then Bracey brought that chick home. And I just woke up to him like she was leaving. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's what happened last night. I was a fucking loser. But I think that maybe character building.
Well, it's got you to where you are today, Tom.
Yeah. Anyway, don't like Bali. But that's mainly because I got sick. Because the rest of the holiday was actually really fun. Like with him, it wasn't like the holiday was shit. The holiday was mad fun. But that night was particularly embarrassing. We're getting done here, Eddie. We're now 9 points behind the
Kevin's
US.
turned up.
Kevin's decided to play a bit of fucking basketball.
And Kevin's a beast.
Yeah. Is he an all-time great?
Yep.
Go,
he is considered.
Oh, for fuck's sake, hit a 3.
Dior punters and dribblers. I think he's considered the best scorer of all time because of his
Because of the ways he can score.
because
how
of the
big
ways
he is.
he can score any which way.
Because he's fucking 7 foot.
He's not limited in what he can do.
Oh,
he's
lovely
I think
pass.
he is 7 foot
Yeah.
and he can shoot threes like the best of them.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I fell asleep, but I was watching Australian Story on Luke Longley the other day. That was an interesting fucking thing.
Did they talk about The Last Dance much?
Well, sort of. MJ was on it. He was interviewed for it.
For Luke Longley.
Yeah. MJ fucking Scottie Pippen was, Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
He was interviewed. A few of them. Phil Jackson.
Really?
Yeah. It was interesting, and it's on YouTube now. I think if you want to go watch it,
I will.
But
What did they have to say about Luke?
well, I mean, he's 7 foot for starters. Paddy motherfucking Mills with the 3-pointer. Look, they were talking. Look, it started off sort of talking about his life and like where he came from. I think he's West Australia. Oh, Fremantle. Yeah, West Australia. But just that he was like a king of American college basketball in the town where he was. And then he went to Minnesota, and I think he went in the first round, the draft, went to Minnesota, and they were just a shithole team. And he was like, yeah, the team fucking sucked, and like they were all like, not like there wasn't like team cohesiveness, and they were all sort of out for themselves.
Yep.
And then just out of nowhere, he gets drafted to he gets traded to the Bulls in when was MJ playing baseball? 96?
95.
Well, he moved.
94, 95.
Longley moved to the Bulls in 94.
Right, okay. But like just getting drafted to the fucking best team in the comp, and then again, didn't watch the whole thing, but MJ said some story that was funny where it was like, because Luke's like, he was apparently like a really sort of placid and not like a aggro sort of NBA style player. He's just like a nice giant who he's like, mate, if I wasn't 7 foot and could just like catch a fucking ball, I don't think I'd be playing anywhere. But he had like 12 points, fucking 5 rebounds and 5 blocks maybe in like the first half. And MJ tells a story about how he's like, that's fucking it, Luke. Like, you're killing it. This is fucking great. And then by the end of the game, he had 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 blocks or whatever. And then he goes up to him and he goes, I'm never going to fucking compliment you in a game again. But anyway, I didn't realize how much of a throbber Luke Longley was in terms of Australian basketball. And like, it's funny, right? Like, Andrew Gaze seems to be the greatest Australian basketball that ever produced, but did he even play?
He did.
But like, not really,
He
right?
had a very short NBA career. But Andrew Gaze embodies the Australian basketball spirit because he's so active. He's the king of the NBL, which is our domestic comp. He's got the Andrew Gaze Awards, which,
Andrew Gaze is an NBA champion with the
Sacramento?
Spurs in 99.
wasn't he parachuted in for that? How many games did he play? I feel like there's a yarn there. No disrespect to Andrew, I could be wrong.
I tell you what, Andrew likes wearing his basketball shoes on the broadcast fame for the Olympics.
Likes it. He doesn't take basketball shoes off
Why is that?
because he's got to be ready to go.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
They
so
were-
he played 19 games in the regular season and didn't play the whole playoff run.
There we go.
Yeah. But, dude, I just, like, it's so funny basketball is, like, I don't know if heaps of basketballers do it, but, like, Andrew Gaze is wearing, like, a suit coat, pants, and then fucking white basketball shoes on the broadcast last night. I'm like, what are you doing, Andrew? Again, this isn't anti-Andrew. I love Andrew Gaze. But, like, just basketball is, like, needing to be ready to rip.
Needing to be ready to rip.
It'd be like if fucking Ricardo was getting around in his driver's suit. You never know when I got to jump in a car.
Yeah. Or we just had carried his helmet.
Carried his
everywhere.
helmet, wearing footy boots.
Look, I think that ex-basketball players like Andrew Gaze exploiting a bit of a loophole in society whereby basketball shoes can also be seen as fashion.
Yes.
But given the context, being that he's on the broadcast for Channel 7 and everyone else is quite dressed up, he looks a little bit out of place.
But also, there's no way that you're going to convince me that in any way, shape or form, that Andrew Gaze has even a skerrick of fashion sense
Well, Andrew,
or even care.
Andrew Gaze falls into the big guy mold, and I'm generalizing here, but this is pretty much true, whereby tailored suits don't seem to exist for men that big.
Oh yeah, like big and tall. Johnny Big, I think, is the fucking Australian.
Like, is that beyond human capability to tailor suits for the 7-foot man?
Well, it's not beyond sort of human capability. We have put people on the moon, Edward. If you,
But that's what I'm confused by, Tom.
well, I think they do that. Johnny Big. I saw an ad for Johnny Big. It's like Gus Wallen fucking. That's all I can remember actually. Can you look at Johnny Big characters? Not characters. What are they called? Johnny Big ambassadors.
Yep. Andrew Gaze has his own line of shoes.
Maybe that's what he's wearing. What are
Yeah.
they called? Gaze?
Yeah, they're just called Gaze. Yeah.
Are they?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Of course they are.
G-A-Z-E.
Of course they are.
How much will a pair of gays set me back?
Literally cheapest ones are $60. Most expensive are 70. And they're not very fashionable.
Dude, we might have to get ourselves a pair of gays. Oh, and just send us a link, Dave, on the fucking WhatsApp. I'll rock a pair of gays for a laugh.
Just scroll down a bit to the photos of them. It might be the photos, but the shoes all look really short. But yeah, it says between 2005 and 2010, they sold over 500,000 pairs.
Wow.
It's over
How long?
Over 5 years.
500,000.
Yeah.
100,000 a year. That's
Wait,
not bad.
Say that again?
Between 2005 and 2010, the shoe brand sold over 500,000 pairs.
Shit. Well, it hasn't come through on WhatsApp, but
Hasn't it?
So
that's internet.
this really sums up Andrew Gaze. He competed in 5 Olympic Games, LA, Seoul, Barcelona, Atlanta, and Sydney. He's the second all-time leader in points scored at the Olympics. Highest place was 4th in Seoul, Atlanta, and Sydney. Just that elusive fucking bronze, bro.
Couldn't get it. And it looks like it. Who do we play
He's
for?
a 7-time NBL MVP.
Just couldn't quite get the NBA cracked.
You can get limited edition Gaze slams for $49.
Dude, where are these fucking shoes? Gaze
bottom.
slams?
Gaze slams, you can get Gaze Elite Slam 2s, the signature shoe with the black and gold for $69.
Dude, let's get the best. Let's get the top of the fucking pops gazes.
You can get Gaze Elite Fly signature shoes, the green and gold version.
Dude, let's get
For
some
69
Andrew
bucks.
Gaze shoes. Yes. Eddie, I'm serious. We're going to buy
He's
them,
also
aren't
he's got the signatures, which are the basketball shoes, and then he's got lifestyle relaxed shoes.
Well, the Elite Fly, which is the gold and green one, are a 2021 limited edition, only 100 pairs made.
Oh,
And they're still for sale.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, it doesn't say any sizes are sold out. Oh, no, yeah, some sizes are sold out.
oh, they're sold in Big W.
Where all good shoes are sold.
Well, yeah, right. I've only got 2 results. Gaze boys high tops basketball
What-
shoes.
Does the link not work for you?
It's not come through.
It said it's been
Yeah.
read by everyone in the group for me. Just go to gaze.com.au.
Motherfucker.
I can.
Oh, there
yeah.
it is. No, there it is.
US 10s, US 11s, bang.
I am a US 11 and a half, I think.
They don't have halves.
Well, see, that's the problem. I bought shoes the other day. I got some Nikes sent to the fucking house. Bought them off Culture Kings. They don't fit.
What size you get?
I got the fucking size that says on the shoe I'm currently wearing. And they don't fit. And I'm like, oh, God, it's such a ball ache buying fucking shit online. So what are we going with here, Eddie?
Are these a waste of money?
Yeah. Fucking oath they are. But they're also not a waste of money because we're going to sit here with our Gaze Elite Fly signature shoes,
Look at
green
these.
and gold.
Look at these.
Are they the green and golds?
Yeah.
Should we get them?
Yeah, we get the green and gold one.
Yeah, get the green and gold.
Do you reckon they're a big sizing or a small sizing? Because I'm US 10 and a half. Should I go up or down?
I'd say stay that.
They don't have halves.
What do you mean?
They don't have halves.
Well, so what sizing do they got?
You got US 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, or 14 and a half.
How the fuck are you a US 10 and a half then?
Because I order 10 and a half.
But if there's no US 10 and a half, how are you US 10 and a half?
On him, there is a US 10 and a half.
Oh, he just doesn't have
He,
it.
Andrew Gaze himself.
Was Tom just convinced that half sizes don't exist?
Well, I know half sizes do with some, but some don't. You know what I mean?
You can get half sizes are pretty common now. Back in the day they weren't, but they are now.
Well, I'm a US 11, and I think that's what went wrong with me with these shoes that I got, because now I'm actually a US 11 and a half. See, this is the problem. If I don't get the right shoes, am I going to be bothered to go back and get the right size of Gaze Signature Flies fucking 2020 or whatever?
Why don't we just get a US 11 and US 12?
No, because 12 is too big. 12 is me fucking trotting around. Like, I want to be able to ball out in these things.
I'm thrown now because they could be a small fit, and in which case the US 10s won't fit me.
I think we just go 211s, because I think they'll be a bigger fit because basketballs are big. You know what I mean? They're for big people.
They are for big people.
Worst comes to worst, we've wasted $130. You know what I mean? We'll donate them. Someone can fucking get them. We'll give them away to a dribbler. Huh?
We'll sign them.
Yeah, but we'll sign them and give them to a dribbler. Well, Dave, do you want a pair?
I mean, I wouldn't say no.
The only other thing I had was decathlon. We were talking about the other day how it's like a medal for mediocrity.
Well, it is a medal for mediocrity, the fucking decathlon, right? Like, every single person competing in all these events that we've already seen competed in, most of it, and they're just doing shitter times and shitter fucking distances and shitter heights. They're just doing 10 of them. These are people that couldn't qualify for any of these events.
But I reckon it's also like, it's tough because they're doing it all within 2 days. Like were you watching was it the 200 last night that they were running?
So I was watching.
They were done afterwards.
I was watching the decathlon today, and it appears that you need to bring your own. You've got to bring all your own shit. Like, they had their own chairs and stuff.
What do you mean chairs?
For what?
Like, they had their own chairs for the discus. Like, they were throwing the discus and they pack up their stuff and they move to the next event. It's very much, it's as close as to amateur as a sport or an event can get. It's sort of like going to a gala day where you compete in all these events.
What do you mean a chair? What's a chair for? It's like you've got to have your own chair to sit down at the fucking, like, when you're waiting.
They packed up their shit. They had all this stuff. They had their bags and their chairs and shit, and they'd go to the next event.
It's like a school carnival.
Like a carnival.
You just
I
make
don't
your
see
way
the
around
point.
the field.
Apologies for yawning again.
Well, I just thought they would supply their own chairs. Like, they would, the IOC would provide
chairs. Maybe it's maybe it's all part of it, right? Like, part of the decathlon is being able to carry all your shit to every event as well.
Possibly.
Maybe they don't even have like fucking buses and cars. It's like, oh no, you got to fucking walk to the velodrome if you're gonna. Do they ride? What's in the decathlon, Dave?
Good question.
It's all track events.
Is it?
No, there's a hammer throw and a
Track and field events.
Yeah, track and field.
There is an event. Do you all look this up and see if they still do it? Where it's like fencing, horse riding, shooting.
Have I told you I used to do fencing?
No.
I won like. Or did I win? No, I didn't win. I think I came third. I don't even remember the event where I came third in, but I just remember having a certificate. But like in a regional fencing competition.
You did fencing.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck did you get into that?
At my primary school, like
that seems rather snooty.
It wasn't a snooty primary school either. Like, they didn't do snooty shit. It was just like there was a guy called Roland von Zopf who was like this. Fucking, he looked like a musketeer, dude. He was like European. He had the 12 moustache, like legitimately. And
kids who couldn't cut it on the track did fencing.
No, dude. I could cut it on the track at that primary school because there weren't many guys in the year. It was a co-ed year, and there were like 5 guys. So I think I was actually probably the fucking tier 1 athlete, if I can be honest. Shout out to Jibgate in Barrel.
It's a weird thing to do at a primary school as well.
Very odd.
Like, they wouldn't just do like.
How does one fence?
Like this.
Yeah, but you just got to try and.
Nah, so like the way I, like, again, I'm fucking trying to remember from when I was like 7, 8, 9, 10, 7, 8, 9. Was like you would think of it as like the hands on a clock, and so like the movements would be like, you know, to there, like, you know, the top quarter, like top 2 quarters and the bottom 2 quarters. But then it was like the hands on a clock, but it was the the terms used were like months of the year. Again, I know this doesn't sound like I'm not painting a picture, but it was like I remember like septime and octave, like was if you were like parrying, like if someone's like leaning with the sword, like you'd parry it down and away, or like depending on where your hand was, like parry it up, and like so there was all this shit, but I was all right at it. It was actually fun, dude. It's fucking sword fighting. You know what I mean? Like it actually was fun, and you'd wear these suits.
It's random as fuck.
No, it's super random. But you'd wear these suits that had like sensors in them, so when you'd hit them, you'd score. Like,
is that how it's done?
Yeah. So you'd have these really thin fucking swords that'd have like a knob on the end to stop it from being sharp, and they would like react to a sensor in the padding of the chest, and you just go and sword fight motherfuckers. It's actually, now I think about it, it was fucking fun.
How long did you fucking fence for?
Probably a couple of years.
Couple of years?
Yeah, I think so. Like
I don't know.
You were
like a fencer,
dude. I was a good fencer. I think I was.
How
good.
did you fall out of the fencing game?
I changed schools. They didn't do fencing, and I
Well,
wasn't
surprisingly.
Well, yeah, I know. I wasn't going to go fucking.
Have you ever thought about joining a fencing club?
Because I did judo
They'd
as
be
well.
crying out for members.
I was in the local newspaper for judo, just to fucking give some actual legitimacy to that Batuta article where it's like everyone's talking about.
Yeah,
high
which
school,
which you're
school
now
athletic
dropping.
program. I was fencing, got third in a regional thing, and then I was in the newspaper for judo. So
where like was there any fucking thought around maybe going all the way?
no, there wasn't, because once I changed schools, I was like, I'm not going to go. Like when I was doing it at school, it was like you do it with other people at your school who want to do it. I'm not going to go to like a regional fencing center and go and do fencing at
So
something.
were you a member of a club, fencing club?
No, I was just at school.
Okay.
But I'm not going to go and join a fucking fencing club.
How many schools fenced? Or were you like
I didn't
national
compete
champion
against
by
other
default?
schools. No, I didn't compete against other schools.
So how did you win a regional
Because
tournament?
then I had to go and compete at these fucking things with randoms. Like, there weren't other schools. I don't know
they
who the
were
fuck
people
they
from
were.
fencing
So
clubs.
it'd be like the Southern Highlands fucking something regional fencing tournament, which is as niche as it gets.
Yes.
That's a niche. So,
What sort of cap was at these things? Like,
Bro,
was it-
I don't even remember the event. Like, I actually don't even remember. I got no idea.
were you nervous the night before?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Do you bring your own fucking equipment?
No, I didn't have my own fencing sword. What's it called? A fencing?
Saber.
I didn't know that. I didn't have my own saber.
Well, I think there's a few different types. There's a saber. There's some other.
Roland von Zopf was his name. Can you believe that? Like, I mean, is there
if
a
you
more?
were fencing in primary school, he would need to have a name like that.
That's what I mean. Like, is there a more fencing fucking sword fighting name? He was a legit musketeer. That probably made it why it was so fucking fun.
What defines a musketeer?
Like a Three Musketeers.
But what is a musketeer by definition?
I think it's a name of people in a fucking movie. I don't think it's like you. It's not like a.
But you said he was a
Oh, no,
legit
no, no, hang on.
musketeer.
Okay,
I'm taking the piss with that.
You're actually not, because a musketeer was a type of soldier equipped with a musket.
Then why are they called the Three Musketeers and they fight with swords?
I don't. Well, maybe because at that time it was a joke that like muskets were out of fashion and they were just these like stupid idiot dudes.
Right. Well, all I'm saying is I wasn't saying.
So that's a joke. So Three Musketeers is...
What? Wasn't the Three Musketeers a?
the Three Musketeers
They didn't
fought with
have
fucking
muskets.
swords. They had swords.
Oh, I was thinking of the Three Stooges.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Dave.
Oh, you can't blame me for not being alive when like the Three Musketeers was around.
Is he
I was
crying?
like-
No, he wouldn't be crying. He's just tired.
No, so okay, The Three Musketeers is a French historical adventure novel written in 1844 by some dude. In the swashbuckler genre, it has heroic, chivalrous swordsmen who fight for justice.
Yes.
Yeah,
they were-
so nothing to do with muskets.
Well, maybe muskets were like swords before they were guns with swords on them.
I don't know, but when I'm saying a legit musketeer, I'm not saying like a legit Navy SEAL. Like, I'm just saying he looked like a fucking musketeer, like
Saying
one
he
of the
lo-
Three Musketeers.
he looks
They
like
have the
an
12
old-fashioned
moustache
dude.
and they fight with swords and shit.
No, I thought that was how he sort of
No, he didn't
legitimized
identify
to you.
himself as I'm a musketeer. No. Shout out to Roland von Zopf. I assume he's no longer with us. I hope you are, but I assume you're not.
Did you find the Olympic event where they fence? What is it?
No. What the what? The Olympic event where they fence.
They fence, they horse ride, they swim, I think.
Is that the? Well, that wouldn't be the heptathlon, but would it be the winter?
Where's Thon Maker?
Don't know. Just Google like all those events in one.
Do you want to hear the sports that are in the decathlon or?
Yes.
So it's 100 meters, long jump, shot put, high jump, 400 meters, 110 hurdles, discus, pole vault, javelin, 1500 meters.
And so, jack of all trades, master of none.
That's right.
Greg Popovich's hair looks like fairy floss. Not tasty fairy floss either.
So they've got Steve Kerr, Greg Popovich as their coaching staff. That's pretty fucking elite.
Bang.
Oh, okay. There's the modern pentathlon.
Do they
This is
still?
the one
Is
that
that
you're
still a
thinking
thing?
Is it still a... Ooh.
The pentathlon, dude. Listen
and
how
that's
fucking
5?
random this is.
Is that
Isn't random
5
the
people?
pentathlon is?
Yeah. So the modern pentathlon has fencing, swimming, show jumping, shooting, and running.
Say it again. Fencing?
Fencing, swimming, show jumping, shooting, running.
You know what that is? That is a the parcel of events where it's like you don't know what the fuck you're getting.
How
Right.
fucking random is that?
It is random.
Is that still at the Olympics?
As far as I know, it is, but I feel like
Type in modern pentathlon Tokyo.
it might be a Winter Olympic thing, Tokyo.
No way.
Swimming.
No way.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
something to-
yeah, no, it is. Modern pentathlon, let's see when it starts. 5th of August, Thursday. Oh, it starts today. The women's fencing and the men's fencing is on today.
Yes. Shout out to Roland Von Zopp. That's a good omen.
Can you ride?
A horse?
Yeah.
Fuck no, dude. I hate
If
horses.
if you tap that on, you'd be a fucking
I could be a
pentathlete.
pentathlete. I could be a pentathlete. But I hate horses, but like
You can fence.
I can fence,
You
I can swim.
You can run.
Can you shoot?
I have shot a gun before.
There you go.
Fuck, dude. We're getting somewhere.
Am I a pentathlete?
Burmo, the modern pentathlete. That's an image.
Didn't we win gold last time?
Oh, fuck me. Did you see that? That was hot.
Mate, I don't
US
think we won
pumping
gold
us.
in the pentathlon.
We had
Who's our
someone
fences?
won the decathlon or the pentathlon last Olympics. or something.
Decathlon and heptathlon are track and field events.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But someone
heptathlon
won,
I think is 8, decathlon 10. I think the women don't do. I think the women do 8, the men do 10.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm pretty sure one of our women won.
the
one event at the
pentathlon
last
is a
Olympics.
different kettle of fish altogether.
Yeah. Well, that's more similar to the decathlon.
Hey, Matty. Sorry, can you get that light? This here? It just went then. What's the name of the Australian? Have we got any fences?
I wonder if there's any Australians competing in that.
Well, I feel like if there is, then from an omen perspective, I'm going to bet on him because we've been talking about my prowess with the saber and Roland Von Zopp. Fuck me, dude. The US have just turned this on, haven't they?
There's a minute to go. We're down by 23 points.
And they're doing like alley oops and shit, blocking us at every turn. Oh my God, bro.
We turn our attention to bronze.
All eyes on bronze.
All eyes on bronze.
Is Draymond Green a dickhead?
Don't know him.
I understand. It's a fair point. But I just mean, like, is he a controversial figure?
I believe so.
Is he
yes.
like a, you know?
A Will Chambers?
Well, fuck. I mean, not even a Will Chambers necessarily. For some reason, I am not super au fait with my basketball. I know enough. There's Lillard, you know what I mean? I know. But Draymond Green, I just got the vibe that he might have been a bit of a divisive character within the NBA universe.
Sure. I mean, I think so.
Dave, you got that fencer for us yet, bros?
Yeah, so Ed Fernan is in the males.
Okay.
Ed?
And
Ed? And what's his like? Has he won a world champs before? What's his,
let me find old mate Eddie. He competed at the 2012 Olympics where he finished in 27th.
not great.
That's not good enough.
He didn't compete in 2016.
Okay.
Doesn't say if he has any world championships or anything.
We can find that, can't you? Look up fucking fencing world champions.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't have.
He hasn't.
There was nothing there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so he
yeah,
doesn't. He doesn't have a fencing world
Yeah,
champion.
there's also Marina Carrier,
Right?
not a boat, but she's representing the women in the fencing. Also, not too much around her. It's her Olympic debut.
Fuck. So I really could have made the Olympics for fencing potentially.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a bloke who came near to last in 2012
Didn't
and in
compete at
2016 didn't compete and has no world championships like yourself,
This guy's as decorated as I am.
basically.
Well, he's been to an Olympics,
Oh,
but like
no,
essentially.
Marina Carrier. This is what I was talking about before. Marina Carrier won. Hang on. Yeah, won gold at Rio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You just said it was an Olympic debut.
No,
Yeah, you did say that, Dave.
maybe that might have been from last Olympics.
You are.
Hey, it only took me like a minute to.
No, that's true.
find
You
out I
also
was
gave
wrong.
us the fucking wrong goal scorer, the goalie for the Matildas, and some dribbler fucking was in our DMs going, "That's not the name of the goalie. Dio got it
Look,
wrong."
we'll be putting on a
I'm
multi
sorry
after
to the
this.
dribbler that knows the name of the Australian goalkeeper at the Olympics.
We'll be putting on a multi after this. Oh, I've got a feeling that Ed goes all the way.
So do we just go both of them, bang
I think
bang,
so.
the 1-2 and the fencing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been our Olympics, hasn't it? It's been Australia's Olympics.
Shout out to Bo Junk who tipped me into the 2 Australian gold medal sailors.
Yeah, and shout out to Eddie for not letting me know about it.
I didn't let him know, but
You just told me.
Bo let me know and I got on. I've now parlayed that, parried it all into Brooks Koepka.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Going hard at that omen.
I'm going hard at that omen.
I'm going to go at that omen today.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just such a powerful omen.
Yeah.
I just can't ignore it. I've
If you
gone
don't,
hard at it.
you've got to watch About Even to understand the omen.
I wouldn't have
but-
gone as hard as Michael, but I've gone fucking pretty hard.
No, you wouldn't have gone as hard as Michael. I don't know that anyone in the country would
See
have
how
gone as-
hard he went at the cricket?
Yeah, I know. But he won't show us how hard he's gone at the golf, which means it must be significantly harder than he went at the cricket.
Which is hard.
Yeah. Yep. Should we dribble?
Let's dribble.
Let's dribble. Varley, Brian motherfucking Henderson. Do you remember Brian Henderson, Eddie? Maybe not. Maybe you don't. Brian Henderson was like it's funny. I feel fucking old even thinking about it. But Brian Henderson was like the newsreader back in the day. Do you remember him at all?
No.
That's crazy. Channel 9.
Let me type him in. What's his name?
Brian Henderson. Shout out.
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, vaguely. Anyway.
Vaguely.
Brian died 89 today. I'm shocked he was still alive, to be completely honest. Brian was old in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, Brian spent the last couple of years coasting, I'd like to think.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I don't have that on authority, but I'd like to think that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to think that.
Yeah. But I think it's probably time for us to dribble.
Yep. Let's go.
Yeah, g'day boys. It's the big bulldog dribbler here. Been listening a while, first time calling up. Heard you guys speak the other day about Kevin Gordon. I can confirm he's a Gold Coast local here still. Went for a walk down the beach the other day. Saw this lunatic in his Speedos roller fucking blading down the path, and my missus goes, "Who is that lunatic?" And I said, that would be one of the all-time great Titans try scorers. So it got me thinking, who's the biggest fucking lunatic since they retired from rugby league? Just going absolutely insane. Love your stuff. Thanks, fellas. See you later.
That's a good question. I mean, Kevin Gordon to me seems like the one who's gone the craziest since retirement, right? Like, I'm trying to think.
Well, Hopper.
Hopper's up there.
Oh, Hopper's definitely. But Hopper was fucking psycho when he played. You know? Like, Hopper was crazy when he played.
Kevin Gordon didn't move the needle when he played.
No, like, he was just a good player. He was fast as fuck and he was a good
But
player.
in that way.
No. It was only once he did some video or something where he was like, he put a carpet on a skateboard and was pretending he was riding like a magic carpet. And everyone's like, oh, that was fucking funny.
That was funny.
It was funny. And then he went to like, dude, like I follow him on Instagram and I check out his shit and there's no hate here, but it's just like, he's fucking bizarre. He's a unique character, right? Like he's clearly doing whatever the fuck he wants to do. But I'm like, I don't know what he does because he's not acting.
He's also like anti-vax and anti-COVID and all that.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get around that sort of rhetoric. It's hard to, catch him, Addy. Thanks, brah.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, the anti-vax or anti-COVID rhetoric is just kind of like stupid people. You know, what do you do about that? Dum-dums. But that's not,
Well,
that's not the weirdest part about him, put it that way.
well,
There's a lot of weird shit about him.
Yeah, it's weird shit. It's just people that don't really know how to interpret information. and weight it accordingly.
Yeah.
They don't know how to weight information properly.
Yeah, not just information, but the source of that information.
But yeah, exactly. But they're not grading it. So like someone who has no qualifications and has done no meaningful research
Is as reasonable a reliable source.
That information shouldn't be weighted as important or valid as a scientist, for example.
Yes.
But Kevin, if he's an anti-vaxxer, does that.
Well,
By pointing to things like vaccines have been bad in the past. Yeah, no one's denying that.
No one's saying they haven't.
But
been.
there are rigorous fucking
Testing.
like fail-safes put in now for that reason.
Can you just Google this, David?
Because of our dark history.
Can you just Google this? Because I don't know. I just, again, because like there's so much fucking anti-vax bullshit going around, but that there was some sort of act or something put in place that basically absolves all vaccine companies of any liability. Because like to me, do you think that they should be liable, or is it like if you're operating on such a huge scale,
I think
that you can't fucking be sued if someone has a bad reaction?
This is a vibe thing.
Yeah.
This is all vibe. There are statistical like anomalies, or that's probably not right, but like there are adverse reactions that are very minimal that happen to the general population, like, you know, blood clotting, 1 in 100,000 cases, for example. Like there are thresholds, I think, that they need to stay below or above, whichever way that fucking
What do you mean?
comes across. So like maybe like people getting blood clots and dying from AstraZeneca is not a good thing, but like when weighted against the good it's doing,
like
it's an acceptable.
It's an
level.
acceptable like sort of amount of
Because apparently the pill gives blood clotting 1 in 10,000.
to women.
Yeah. I read that the other day. Again, I don't know if that's true.
I don't know
but
if Dave's up to this level of Dioring. That's my
So,
concern.
no, I've got it here. So in the US, there's an act called the Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness Act, which it says provides immunity from liability for claims, and this is to certain, I guess, companies, but it has to be authorized by the Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. Basically, provides immunity from liability of damage caused by the administration of a drug in response to a disease or threat. Yeah, pretty much. Just
I just want like
and it's for people and individuals involved in the development, manufacture, testing, distribution, administration of countermeasures.
yeah, right.
But
Good Dioring there.
yeah, but I'm trying to find if there's a similar thing in Australia, which might be
Yeah.
harder to find.
Could you also try and get the fucking fencing back on?
Oh yeah.
So like I agree with you that like that you
I don't think they can be 100%
perfect without
Perfect.
having any fucking exactly right. Like that's the difficulty. But I wonder, and I'm sort of just thinking aloud because it was something I heard probably when I'm fucking clicking through Mundine's fucking Instagram stories. But like whether that should be a thing, whether they should be completely fucking.
But I would suggest that they probably can't because of the range of people. Like
The range of people that they are.
like
that
if you're fucking giving a drug for billions of people, within that sample size, there are going to be very small numbers of people that are affected in different ways.
But it's better that the vaccine or whatever exists as opposed to not existing at all when people then just die of fucking smallpox.
like if you can reduce deaths by smallpox to 0, but 1 in 100,000 people gets fucking a blood clot, that's the lesser of two evils.
Correct.
Significantly.
Agreed.
Maybe that's how it's looked at.
The thing I've
Very
heard
well
a
could
lot
be.
is to kind of explain this whole anti-vax thing is that like, people of our parents' generation would have, if not lived through things where vaccines have worked, but their parents would have told them like, oh, there was polio everywhere, oh, shit like that, and then it was just gone. But no one closer to our age has kind of actually seen that happen in real life.
They haven't seen the tangible.
Yeah.
Results of a vaccine.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
That's actually not bad.
That's a great point. We just don't get shit.
No one gets shit
Yeah.
anymore because of vaccines.
Yeah.
And no one cares.
No.
Because, no one knows what, like, everyone just goes, it's government control. It's like, bruh, fucking smallpox was legit. Polio was legit. Like, These things fucked people up.
Yeah. Well, I've got a family
Like,
friend who's got polio.
But are you like, okay, you're anti-vax? Are you anti-fucking?
Headache medication?
Are you
anti-Panadol?
Are you anti-antibiotics, bro?
Yeah.
Are you anti-penicillin? Obviously, penicillin, the original, but like, is that where you're going with
Yeah.
it?
What happens when you've got an earache? What do? Do you just ride it out?
If you get surgery, are you just going to say no to the antibiotics and like?
Or the anesthetic? Are you just going to
fucking say no to anesthetic? Is that where we get to? Because if that's where we're getting to, if you get an infection, bro, and you don't take antibiotics, now we get into the territory of having to cut your fucking limbs off.
Is that what you want?
Are they just in those like leeches and spices areas where that's?
It's just like, where do you draw the line? Okay, like if you're comfortable with surgery and you're comfortable with fucking antibiotics and you're comfortable with pain relief,
right? Like processed food,
and but you're not comfortable with vaccines. Why though? I don't understand. Why are you drawing that line in the sand when you don't know what the fuck you're talking about?
It always seems like dumb people. That's the thing. It always seems like the people who are pushing it real hard are kind of dumb. That's the vibe I get, with the greatest respect. I could be wrong. Just on a side note, I realised this started off as a chat about lunatic rugby league players, but this is the podcast you sign up for. I saw a clip last night. Rogan, this chick who escaped North Korea, and she's detailing like what life is like. Apparently, it's a fucking gnarly podcast. I do plan on listening to it, even though this one clip made me sick. And she was talking about how commonplace just death is, like just dead bodies floating in the river. You know, you go to the train station, that's where a lot of dead bodies are, because like a train, she was saying something like a train that would take an hour to get somewhere would sometimes do your own research here, either 4 weeks or something, or like 4 months or 4 weeks, because sometimes they would have to push the train. Like people would have to push the train. And anyway, like the people would go and like live down in the fucking train areas, and there's dead bodies there all the time, and every day they'd come and clean dead bodies away. And she was saying that like...
What are people dying of?
Starvation. She was like...
Yeah, it's a big issue over
Dude,
there.
she was like, not a big issue, it's the issue. She was like, I never knew what not being hungry was like. She was like, me and my sister would talk about how much you'd eat of this, and it was always like I'd eat 1,000,000 fucking pieces of bread, but it was like, because I never had any concept of what it was like to have eaten too much. She said that she was brought, and like she was brought up, like death is so commonplace that they were so desensitized and had no emotional connection to like no empathy to anyone who died. So like they had no running water, and you'd have to go to a well. This is really fucking graphic, so just get what I'm about to say. She got to a well to get water, and there was like a young boy, like 12 years old, starving to death, and he was so emaciated that like the skin on his back had started to like break apart and break open, and his organs were out on the ground. I know, dude, it's the gnarliest shit. Yeah,
what the fuck?
And there were dogs circling him.
No, bro.
And he's begging for food.
Oh, bro.
And she's like, and she's saying, and she's going, and she starts to sort of well up when she's telling Rogan, and she's going, and I remember in that moment, and it haunts me, I felt nothing. Because it was so normal to see shit like that. She just was there, and she just got water and fucked off.
Oh my God. That's the gnarliest fucking story I've heard in a
Dude,
while.
I listened to it before I went to bed. I had some fucked up
do
dreams.
that.
I had some fucking weird dreams, dude.
Jesus Christ! Everyone knows you gotta go light and
fluffy.
airy and fluffy and fruity before bed. We all know this.
You gotta keep it light and fluffy.
You
before
gotta go
bed,
light
bro.
and fluffy. You have to. If
Yeah.
you watch like some crime thriller, you gotta fucking soften that with some Rick and Morty or some Seinfeld or something, bro.
Yeah.
You can't go to bed on that note.
No.
It's madness.
Yeah.
That's gonna fuck me up for the rest of the day. That story. I can't believe you went to bed after that.
I'm not going to say anymore. There was some more shit, but like if you listen to it, you'll hear it. It's anyway. So I don't know who the craziest rugby league player is. Let's move on.
Yeah, sure,
Heavy though, right?
dude. That's
North Korea.
Oh, dude, that's so.
North Korea is no joke.
That's why they threaten just to fucking bow it. That's why they threaten nuclear war every like 4 years. It's like it's on a cycle because they want aid. They're like, we need aid. Give us more aid.
Or
Our
we'll just start
people are
shooting.
starving, or we'll nuke you. And they're like, it's just easier.
If we just give you food.
It's just easier to give them more aid.
Yeah.
Tom, Eddie. Tom, Eddie, Dior, punters and dribblers. It's the stats man. Quick dribble about Brisbane 32, and you're quite right. Concerns about the Gabatoir. Looking at the effects of other Olympics on sporting stadiums in Australia, well, the FCG wasn't used, but Melbourne in 1956, I thought, what happened back in Melbourne after the Olympics? And it turns out the Olympics were a positive thing. Melbourne, the 3 tests before the 56 Olympics, Australia had lost. But then we won the 4 tests straight after. And in all, in the next 22 tests in Melbourne, we only lost twice. 14 wins, 6 draws, 2 losses. So maybe revamping the Gabatoir into the ultra super Gabatoir on roids is the way to go to make it just a complete impregnable fortress. Be soon.
Did we lose at the Gabba to India just recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. That's the first time we've lost there in like
we did.
fucking, yeah.
Stats man, I always appreciate you coming to us with the great stats. I'd say this. If we're going to give the Gabba a facelift and we're going to fucking supersize it, we're going to fucking roid it up, then the people of Brisbane need to start showing up to test matches because their attendance to the greatest fucking, invention by man from a sporting sense is appalling.
Yeah, it is. They don't seem to. Queensland are like, oh, yeah, we love fucking.
You're not fooling anyone with that
No.
seat design. I
Apparently-
know there's no one there.
Apparently, as well, they've lost the NRL Grand Final. There's a very good chance they've lost the NRL Grand Final now as well, because of the way that they just fucking pulled the rug out from under the NRL when they were like, no footy on in any fucking what it was like last weekend. It's like, oh, okay, you're gonna do that, are you? Well, we're looking at Melbourne now. Melbourne are interested. Sydney's interested as well.
Of course, Sydney's interested.
But Sydney could still potentially go ahead.
Looking less likely,
Yeah.
given current numbers.
I don't understand how that.
Gladys looks like she's been beaten to death. And I'm just saying that more from like a visual that I'm like, she looks fucking exhausted.
Yes. Not actually beaten.
No.
And poor
Beaten down by the
Beaten
virus.
down.
poor Kerry Chant looked like that when she started as well, and she's
Yeah, she did. It looks like it'd be a fucking scout.
It's a
job to have
tough
to do
gig.
every day.
She's gone the big lift. I'm proud of
I
her.
tell you what, I actually think like they should just get much more matter of fact. Like every time after the numbers, the only thing that changes about what they say essentially every day is the numbers. So they go, over the last 24 hours, we've had 110,000 tests, 233 cases, and 55 of those infectious while in the community. And then after that, everything basically is what they said yesterday. We need everyone to stay home. And
I would like, it may be asking too much, Tom, but I would like more insight into what the future looks like. I'm sick of day by day.
I don't think they want to because they can't. They can't, like, they're getting no control on the numbers.
But I want, like, what's the modelling telling us? They'd know. They're like, if there's fucking,
I don't think it's good, Eddie.
if there's 50 in a community every day, what's the next fucking, like, give us an outlook. Because maybe that'll kick people into gear. If they're like, listen, based on the current numbers, we're in lockdown for 5 months. Maybe cunts that are fucking going around to barbecues and shit and fucking yipping and yahooing, which they fucking are, so don't tell me they're not. Maybe they get it together a bit.
Maybe they do, but I mean,
like if someone said to you, based on the current numbers, you're in lockdown for 6 more months.
I don't think that would necessarily be a good thing for
Would that
society.
help or would that be bad?
I think that might be bad. I think people might lose the plot knowing they're locked down for 6 months. People might be like, hey, fuck you.
yeah.
I don't know.
It sucks as an indefinite thing as well, though.
I don't
can't
like the indefinite
I can't
nature
handle
of it.
that because a month ago it was a week-long lockdown, and now we just still don't even know when it's going to end.
Yeah. Well, they're saying that
We all hoped by the end of August, but it's like the numbers are going up.
they're certainly not going down.
It's
are they?
ridiculous that we're a month in and the numbers are still going up.
That's what I don't understand.
Or also if they're like, listen, Delta is a different motherfucker altogether. We cannot wrangle this beast. You have to get vaccinated. maybe that would start pushing people into AstraZeneca, like old people, like the fucking people that should be
Old
getting
people are having AstraZeneca. It's all right for old people.
No, but
But they're not having
enough,
it.
Not enough old people.
They're not
are
having it.
vaccines.
No, they may not be having
Not
it.
at the
no.
rates we need.
No. But it's certainly. But AstraZeneca is the old person's.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
Right.
maybe they'll.
Just maybe
The
they'll
reason
do it.
AstraZeneca is available to people of all ages, Tom, is because the old people said no to it. They didn't. They were like, "Fuck that."
I don't think that's the case. The reason AstraZeneca wasn't available to everyone was because on doctors' advice, it shouldn't be given to people under the age of 40.
No. But like on the availability of the drug for people, right? The AstraZeneca was set aside for old people, and then when the Pfizer arrived, young people could get it. Now, like fucking, some people like Grace, Umbrella's sister, who's like 20, she can't even get a book in November because.
Oh, so because the old,
people should be vaccinated now.
Right, but they're refusing to take AstraZeneca.
Refusing to get it.
And so because they refuse to get AstraZeneca.
That's why they've changed all the fucking shit, because it's available.
What? So, oh, okay, I didn't realize that. That frustrates me
It shouldn't
greatly.
be. They're saying, oh, young people can have it now because
Old people don't
they've
want
got
AstraZeneca.
this stockpile of it.
Why don't they force old people, if you want to get vaccinated, have this, otherwise die? Seriously. I know that sounds harsh, but it's like we all have to fucking wait. Like, and like I'm booked in for a Pfizer in September, and I booked that in July, start of July, and that was early, or maybe even June.
Yeah, I booked mine in June for September.
Yeah, but like, if we have to wait that long.
But then there'd be people that say, oh, you could go get AstraZeneca.
100%, right? But we were told that AstraZeneca is not good for us. That's the only thing that, like, and I know people that have had it, right? I think Maddie's going to get a fucking AstraZeneca now. I'm
Josh
sure
had
he'll
it yesterday.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be all right. And at the end of the day, if we have to, I'll do it. But like, you can understand why the general fucking malaise of maybe younger people specifically are going like, you fucking said like a month ago that we shouldn't be getting the AstraZeneca. And now just because the old people don't want it, it's like, we'll just fucking have it then.
Yeah, well, no, but the other reason it changed as well is because they were like, I was listening to it and it was a whole like risk, like way up they were doing between when there was no cases and there was no lockdown. They were like, oh, well, under 40s or whatever don't need to have it because the likelihood of them getting sick from the vaccine is worse than the likelihood of them getting COVID. Now that there's an outbreak and there's cases everywhere, they're like, oh, actually, it's kind of tipped the other way now. You should get the vaccine because you're less likely.
That makes more sense.
That does make more sense.
But it is also, the availability is also because a lot of old people don't want it.
Yeah,
Like
which
your
is
point still stands
yeah,
about the fact they
yeah.
just told everyone not to have it and now they're telling people to have it.
because like even my old man got it. Like he had the AstraZeneca, but he was freaked out about it. And I was like, hey, bro, like you're in the death zone.
Mate, the history will fucking teach us a valuable lesson. It'll like this will be in textbooks how not to communicate with people.
Yeah.
Fucking 2021 Australian government.
Yeah.
Like, fucking hand that out.
Yeah. How not to? Oh my
God! A chick's just fucking fallen off the fencing stage. Tom, are you au fait with the language?
Well, fell off the fucking mat. And I mean, like she looks like she's playing it up. I hope she's okay, but I don't know how it happened.
No.
They are wearing helmets. I used to wear that full get up as well. Let's have another dribble though, Dave. I feel like
Good
we've
idea,
dragged on.
Yeah.
Have we only had one dribble?
Two.
Two.
Tom, Eddie Dior, it's Kick and Tee Dribbler. Boys, two things. If we're thinking we're going to have 7s and 9s at the Brisbane Olympics, what are your thoughts on maybe adding sharpshooting as an event? I'm talking medals for goal kicking. We'll make it international. We can bring out Dan Carter, Johnny Wilkinson, Haslam, Joey, obviously. I'm thinking packed Suncorp Stadium. I'll even throw my hat in the ring, have a kick for gold. Could just really spice up and make a true Queensland Olympics. Secondly, boys, can you settle this for me? Thoughts on rugby league jerseys worn as smart casual wear? Now, my mate reckons you can only wear NRL jerseys to and from game day. I've been to Townsville and I've been up there for Christmas, and it can be a Tuesday night up there, and the local shopping centre will be brimming in Maroons and Cowboys jumpers. They wear their bogan silks up there just to get the milk. And it's not something that I see in Sydney a lot. So quite frankly, is that the ultimate sign of a dribbler? is someone who's willing to wear their NRL jersey, just for daily errands, maybe their court appearance, just heading down the street to get a cappuccino. Thoughts on that? Thanks for the lockdown yarn, boys. Landings on the moon soon.
Look, I would split this up into two categories, and I hope this helps. Now, if you've got an older school vintage style jersey that's cotton, it's the cotton we all know and love.
Non-bogan silk.
Not bogan silk, and it's got a collar. I think that provides more versatility. If you're rocking around in the bogan silk, you're a dribbler.
If you wear
bogan silk to the pub and your team's not playing, you're a dribbler.
You're a dribbler. That's all.
Which is fine.
There's nothing wrong with it, but
you are a dribbler.
American culture and society is a bit more like accepting of just like wearing jerseys out everywhere. Here, it's a bit more like, what are you doing? Maybe in Victoria, I don't know.
In Sydney, it's certainly that way.
Yes, that's what I mean.
In other parts of the country, it's not.
Well, Townsville seems like they're very pro. Just
a lot of rural
silks.
areas, they'll get the silk on for sure.
Silks, out of context silks.
They'll get the out of context silks on, 100%. I don't have a massive problem with it. I don't do it myself.
No.
Does that answer the question?
Probably not, but I don't do it either. But yeah, certainly like I would wear, the old school Manly jersey potentially somewhere. I
don't mind Dior's new jersey's got on.
That's actually funny. It works because Dior is wearing his Manly jersey right now.
Melbourne,
sorry.
We're actually all wearing Melbourne colours today with your Sydney Kings jerseys.
No, we're all wearing Violet Crumbles colours.
Yeah, really.
Crumbles first, bro. Crumbles first.
I reckon that's not a good omen for you on Saturday night that you've come in here wearing purple and yellow jerseys.
It's a good omen for the fucking...
It's a great omen for the
Sydney
Kings.
When's their next game?
Next year, whenever the fucking season starts. Yeah.
Name one player.
Casper Ware.
I couldn't tell you if that's right or wrong.
Of course you couldn't, because you don't know shit.
Because we're all here in Storm colours. You could name a lot more Storm players than you could Kings players. That's for sure.
I don't think
Definitely
so.
not. Definitely not.
Don't think so. Let's carry on.
Fuck you, Dave.
Tom, Eddie, Dave. It's the third grade front row dribbler here. A couple of weeks ago, someone rang up and said that he was watching the Union at a pub in Coffs Harbour and got the boot at half time. And I'd just like to sort of touch base there and highlight the fact that I was just watching the Para and Roosters game at a venue that I would imagine is the same pub here in Coffs Harbour. And I'm just fascinated because I got the boot at half time. They shut up shop during a game that people actually give a fuck about being a rugby league football game. So it does happen, and wasn't impressed. Anyway, beers soon, Penrith 13 plus soon, over and out.
What?
I heard Parramatta Eels.
I heard like halftime kicked out.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, you remember someone called up and said they got kicked out of a Coffs Harbour pub at halftime during the Bledisloe because they were closing.
Yep.
He's saying he was watching Eels versus Roosters at what was most likely the same pub and got kicked out at halftime.
Well, that pub needs to be burnt to the fucking ground.
We burn that pub to the ground, obviously responsibly. Don't want to get anything, damage is going to happen, but only to the pub. We don't want people to lose lives.
I think that's implied.
Well, I'm just covering our ass legally, Eddie. You got to do that.
Okay, sure.
No one to be killed. The pub, though, to be burnt down.
Yes, the pub to be removed from the earth.
Yep.
Hope that helps. Good dribble. Well, thanks for illuminating us to the problem.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking issue now, I can tell you that.
It's a serious problem.
Tom and Eddie and Tom, just another Manly dribbler here. Just got a hypothetical question for you boys. Manase Fanio, if he was available next week, just take that 14 jersey off Dylan Walker and slap it on Manase. I personally fucking would. One, I think he'd provide all sorts of drama off the bench for opposition teams, especially in the back end of those the halves. And two, fuck Dylan Walker, he's a fucking grub. Let me know what you think. Parramatta never, Manly forever.
Well, listen, I'd first ask you to watch your mouth about Dylan Walker, one of Manly's favourite sons. I don't know if you'd pick Manase straight off the bat, only because He hasn't played any game for fucking 2 years. Do you know his court case has been postponed until next year again?
Oh my God.
But 2 people have come out, 2 eyewitnesses said they were there and he didn't do it. But his court case, which was meant to be in July, has been postponed for another year. Like, this is fucked. I get the seriousness of what he's being charged with or whatever accused of.
It's been fucking
But
3
like,
years.
it's like there's something to like going, okay, like you almost have a no fault stand down, and if you don't have a chance to resolve it within like a certain amount of time, then you should be allowed to continue playing. Or I don't know, like it just seems kind of fucked. But like if you've got 2 eyewitnesses coming out and saying he didn't do it,
I don't get it. That seems fucking ridiculous to me.
I get that, but then the problem is if you're making judgments based on what people are just coming out and saying in the media, you're just kind of not really trusting the judicial system.
no, of course not. But I'm just saying, like, if this guy's life is being put on hold for 3 years, the no-fault stand-down was something that didn't exist until recently. I get completely why it's there, but, like...
The problem with the no-fault stand-down, though, is it doesn't really vibe with...
The legal system?
The legal system and how slow it is. Because it's not like, oh, we're going to stand you down for 10 games while you have your fucking trial and that's it. Like, and then in which case you can understand the seriousness of the charges then probably warrants a 10-game standout, for example. But if you're out of the game for 3 years and you're innocent,
but yeah,
that seems like that's unfair.
It's COVID that's made the case go longer. So ordinarily it would be slightly faster, but still not that fast. But yeah.
Dave's obviously just wants a young man, an innocent young man, just to lose the prime years of his career. Obviously threatened.
That's not what I'm saying.
Threatened.
I believe in a strong state and a strong judicial system. I'm trying to uphold.
We're not anti-judicial system. We're merely arguing that standing a player down for 3 years who might be innocent in the prime of his fucking life is...
It's kind of like...
It's weighted too far the other way.
You're taking the fault out of that fucking title and it's just becoming the, like, fault stand down because it's like, well, you're being treated as though you're guilty because you're not playing rugby league.
And we're just going to keep fucking adjourning this thing.
Yeah.
In fact, we might adjourn it for 5 years, in which case you won't be able to play again.
Yeah, sorry.
The judge is just a massive Eels fan.
Yeah, he probably is, dude.
maybe.
Some Eels dribbler fucking left a comment on our Instagram yesterday. Saltiest cunt. He made a point.
I saw
he made
that.
a point of leaving it on one of Kempy's posts and then on one of ours, and he's like, I was really excited to buy some bloke in a...
Did he write it twice?
He left it on Kempy's one because Kempy was putting up his thing for his hoodies and shit, and then he put it on ours where we put up the video of just us packing hats. And basically it said the same thing, but it was like on Kempy's it said he was looking forward to buying our merch and Kempy's merch, but on ours he was just talking about ours. But it was like, I was really looking forward to spending my hard-earned money on some Hello Sport merch, but you guys just won't stop making fun of Parramatta Eels and flogging them like a dead horse, blah, blah, blah. Not a really smart business decision to fucking... to alienate all these people. And I'm like, bruh. I thought about going back aggressively or rudely, and I was like, no, you know what? He was thinking of buying merch. He was thinking
be polite. You be polite.
Yeah, he was just thinking of buying merch, and I was like, hey, listen, dude, thank you for even considering to buy merch. It's fine if you're not going to. Hopefully, Parramatta win you a title before the sun explodes.
Look, it's part of the culture. We all take the piss out of each other for everything.
Also, it's the adversarial nature of rugby league.
Everyone takes the piss out of everyone. If you went down that sort of fickle path, then you wouldn't be able to be friends with anyone because you cop too much shit all the time.
Yeah, you wouldn't handle it.
If that was the case, then you wouldn't have a Melbourne Storm supporter as your intern.
No,
correct.
Because it wouldn't vibe with us.
Yeah.
Having him win all the time would upset us.
It does upset me.
It does upset us, but we fucking deal with it.
Yeah, we deal with it. So sorry to that guy, but
on we go.
Yeah, g'day, gentlemen. Friday knockoff dribbler here. Just on the current anti-chonk system, even your 10-metre air pistol routing. I personally think it would attract the attention of the punter and the dribbler. And when we're talking Olympic campaigns, that's some pretty good attention to have. Anyway, fellas, beers 13 plus, chonks forever.
Look, I'm not mad at that, to be honest. I'm not mad at that. Imagine if you could do like a some sort of like tandem chong swimming where it's like
Are you swimming and chonging at the
someone's
same time?
like well, it'd probably have to be the could both be swimming, but the woman is probably going to be like the boat part of this, and then the dude's on top, and you're both paddling but chonging at the same time.
Or there could be a backstroke where the dude's on the
There
bottom.
could be a backstroke as well. Could do it in canoe.
Yeah.
Someone's like facing backwards with their legs
I
wrapped around.
think you'd need to be in a canoe. I don't think.
Well, we're just trying to fit chonging into as many.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think you'd need some sort of vessel.
If we're talking about aqua chong,
Yes.
synchronized chonging.
You could do that.
Could you do diving? Fucking, you're already chonging, and then you're just on the.
Like, how many thrusts can you get before you?
Well, I
hit the
think you're already
water?
thrusting as you stand on the board, and then it's how many flips you can do while chonging.
Yeah, it's like diving, but
But you're chonging at the same time. Great idea.
There was another dribbler who went on a similar thought, and he said who would represent each country at the Chong Olympics.
Well, Shane is
yeah.
Shane
representing.
Warne.
Shane.
Shane Warne's the Australian fucking for everything.
I can't speak for any other countries, nor do I care.
I mean, you'd probably get a large contingent of our nation's representatives from rugby league.
yes.
Dylan Brown for like compact areas.
Definitely, yeah, exactly. It's sort of
Shane
a-
would be flag bearer.
Shane would be flag bearer if we were to do the
Would there be weightlifting, but just with your hog?
There definitely would be, and the sheriff would be world record holder. Great question. Let's move on.
I, saw you guys at Brookie in the Cowboys game, gave me a hat. Just want to say thank you. It was great. Love the hat. Used the stubby holder you gave me. Very generous. You guys are helping me through this difficult time. You guys are some great people, and, keep up the good work and go Manly. Thanks a lot. I love my hat. Cheers.
What a nice young man.
What a beautiful young man.
What a fucking just a straight up stand up individual.
That's some proud parents out there, Tom.
Yeah, well, they should be. If they weren't, which I'm sure they already were, but if they weren't for whatever reason, they would be now, knowing how much of an amazing individual they've raised. I actually do remember that guy. Gave him a couple of stubby holders, and we sent him a free hat because he was such a nice young man. Glad to help you through lockdown, bro. Hope you're doing all right. Hanging out with your fam, getting through it. Everyone out there, that goes for all of you punters and dribblers. We hope you're doing well.
We do. We hope. Yeah.
Kempy fucking starting that little fucking GoFundMe. I'm not 100% sure on the details, but I'm pretty sure he's going to turn it into a GoFundMe where he's donating some money. I don't know if it's to someone or if it's going to be a bigger picture with it, but he put a video up on his Instagram yesterday. We're going to donate a bit of money as well. But I think he's trying to make it more so everyone can donate.
Yeah.
Because there are people doing it tough. So, fucking can't work.
Great idea.
It's a great
Fucking
idea.
great idea.
But shout out to that fantastic young
What
man.
a fine young man.
What just a tremendous individual. David, let's move on.
West Tigers shouldn't be allowed to play State of Origin dribbler here. Listen up, Dior Dave, you fucking dog. I've called up the last 4 or 5 weeks after Sam Williams has had some good games, and I've said he's the fully developed version of Luke Brooks. And I'm thinking to myself, now, after Sam Williams has a shit game, is the perfect time to say, again, Sam Williams is the peak version of Luke Brooks. Dribbler out. Get fucked.
Sure. Sam Williams probably is the full realization of Luke Brooks.
I'd go along with that.
I'd go along with that.
I'd subscribe to that, Tom.
I'd subscribe to that. I'd say that Sam Williams has probably a worse body than Luke Brooks, but I guess that's part of the aging process, so maybe he's right.
I don't think it's relevant.
And do you think Sam Williams having a career of being like the second string half on a lot of teams and sitting a lot of time on the bench is probably the career trajectory that Luke Brooks would have had Tigers not re-signed him every 5 years?
Quite possibly, although some would argue that Luke might go better not at a club that sucks as much as the Tigers. But it's a fair question, Dave. It is a fair question.
I'm not ruling that out, Dave. I'm not ruling that out.
All right, moving on.
Food for thought.
Yep.
Tom, Eddie, Dior, punters and dribblers. Blindside Dribbler here. In the glory that is the current Olympic Games for Australians, I just wanted to raise a discussion point. And the question is Bruce McAvaney the absolute greatest commentator of any sport ever? Notwithstanding rabbits with rugby league, of course. But Bruce, how absolutely special is he? All right, gold medals continue, cold, refreshing. Blokes soon. Cheers.
I don't mind Bruce. He's certainly a fucking sports savant. He knows a fuckload about AFL, about athletics, about horse racing.
Yeah.
He's a machine.
He's a machine. He's an absolute machine. He's not the greatest ever, but he's probably the most. If you're talking about like,
he's the most well-rounded.
If you're talking about like decathlete of commentating, then that's Bruce. He's the greatest decathlete.
Yes.
But he's also not like, he's great at all of them.
He's more of a pentathlete. Because they're completely different.
Yes. But he's really like, whereas, in the pentathlon, the decathlon or some shit, you're running 100 meters way slower than the best of the best. He's the best of the best across three. You could say he's the greatest. I don't think he is, but in the sense that I think like Ray Warren, a better commentator of rugby league than Bruce is of commentating anything, if that makes sense. But Bruce still fucking amazing, and the knowledge he brings out is wild. He was doing it on Channel 7 last night.
And he knows so much about everything.
He's standing with Hamish, and he's walking along, and they're looking at fucking two athletes, two runners, and he's talking about comparing one from this era and one from this era, and he's like, and she ran a time of this in this year, and you're like, Jesus, dude, how do you remember all this shit?
It's crazy. Very impressive.
But he's I tell you what, he's a bit of a Magoo, or he's a bit like that one more time dance.
Can't shake it.
It's hard to shake.
It's hard to shake. He's king of the Magoos, but he's very talented.
He's very talented. But yeah.
Thanks for the dribble, bro.
Thanks for the dribble.
That us, Tom?
That's us. 90 hats left if you want one. The link in the bio is there for you. And we'll see you Monday.
Bye-bye.